Did you just get out of the shower?
I just took a sour.
Oh, now you're sweet.
And now I'm all sweet. It was a sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour chicken. Remember that? Do you guys have that down there?
Oh yeah, man. Whenever you go one of those big buffets, it's what you have, sweet and sour chicken. And
Oh yeah.
then they have this wilted lettuce and all this kind of vegetables and stuff.
Oh, sweet and sour chicken. Oh, I found out, Sue. Ma eats sweet and sour chicken, so she must like Chinese.
I love Chinese.
We're trying to figure out what to feed you.
Well, let's see. My day starts out with a cup of coffee and some water. And then I eat breakfast, which could be eggs or oatmeal, or I had French toast this morning. I made French
Mm.
toast
With real
with
maple
my,
syrup or Mrs.
yes, no, yeah,
or
the real stuff.
from Wisconsin or Quebec.
It's not from Quebec, so
Okay.
but it's good stuff.
I think it's only comes from
And
two places, I think, doesn't it?
no,
Quebec and Wisconsin, somewhere like
No, Vermont.
oh Vermont,
yeah,
Vermont.
yeah, it pretty much all over New England. There's some areas. I've got it in Michigan before,
Oh.
in the upper
You
part of
need
Michigan.
maple trees. If you
Yep,
got maple
that's all.
trees, you
Yeah,
can make maple
yeah,
syrup, syrup,
syrup, syrup.
syrup,
I want some syrup.
syrup
Uh,
chicken.
but you can make
That's
uh
like jalapenos.
jalapenos. Yeah,
Jalapenos. Jalapenos. Put a extra jalapenos on that.
yeah. And I don't use dairy. I use very little dairy, and I don't have caffeine. So
I could have
if I
coffee
don't
without.
drink
How could I have coffee?
coffee,
How could I have coffee without caffeine? Is this a magic coffee?
yeah, I have to
Well, I have to.
get
I have to.
decaffeinated.
Has to
We
do a
have
little ritual to get all the caffeine out of it.
we have to
Yeah,
decaffeinate it
it's
for
a
you.
hooga booga.
Which
Okay,
reminds me,
it's a
we got about 10 minutes to go to the show. So you want to come over and say hi, Sue?
Oh,
Well,
wait,
I make coffee?
I'll just say hi.
Come
Hi.
on over and sit in.
hi. I know
Oh,
you.
I'm not sitting in, but I'm just saying hi.
Oh, I'm in trouble now. You don't like being told. I'm gonna go make coffee while you got before the show starts.
Oh,
I'm going to sing.
okay. What you
I'm
gonna?
so beautiful to me. Can't you
Oh
see?
yes, you are so
You're beautiful.
beautiful.
That's right.
Me, can't you see? You're everything I hope for.
That's right. You're
You're everything
everything
I
I
need.
need.
You
Except you
are
got to say it in the
so
mirror.
beautiful. Huh?
You
Singing
got
in the mirror? Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So it's I instead of
I
you.
tell myself every morning. I look in the mirror and I say, "Good morning, beautiful. How are you today, beautiful?" No, I've done that for years. Just get up, look in the mirror, say good morning, give myself a smile.
That's a good thing because we got an audience of like 30 trillion cells. They all listen. They like that kind of stuff. You got to
They
tell them they're doing a
do.
good job and keep up the good
Yep.
work.
Everything likes that. Everything.
Everything wants to
So,
be adored. I adore you. You're just
oh,
adorable.
I adore you. Da, 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 da. I can't remember the words. Adore you. That's a early '60s song, I think. But maybe 50s.
Must let it cool a bit.
I don't know. Woo!
If you sing, it's twice as good as just saying "I love you" or something like that. You gotta sing.
Oh yeah,
In a song, it's like this whole thing. It's this vibrational yumminess.
there is. And I'm saying ever since I was little, and I do it all the time. And my kids, somebody would come home with them that had never come home with them, and I'd be doing dishes or something, and I'd be singing. And Ellie walked in the kitchen with one of her girlfriends one day, and her girlfriend kind of looked at me because I was just singing and doing dishes. And Nellie said, she sings like that all the time. Turned around, walked out the door. Like, that's just my mom.
Yeah. But that was a tradition in this country for like what 300, 400 years. People would
Yeah.
sing. They'd sing at weddings. They'd sing like for example, the Irish, they had 17 songs that you sang the day of your wedding. So they had songs for waking up, songs for getting dressed, songs for going to the church, you know, and songs for the mother-in-law. It just went on and on and on because that was like what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that got into the Appalachian, and all those Appalachian people, they still do that. They still sing and
Well, Native people have songs. And the medicine people have particular songs. They are songs that only the medicine person would sing, and it would depend on what the situation was for the song that they sang. And these were to heal. They had the medicine of the song, they had the medicine of the vibration. So there's another thing that says, vibrations help in healing. When you're singing, you're really producing a vibration that seems more recognizable by people than just, sending that energy. So, yeah, songs. I mean, the church I grew up in, that was a big deal, singing. And I learned to sing alto when I was at 8 years old. I could harmonize with my grandmother. And, that was always special. And I can go back now and sing some of those hymns that I sang growing up, and it's like they're so special. There's so much there in them. And
well, I'm doing a little exercising with my what do you call it, worldview, and
yeah,
I'm trying to look at everything as a spirit. So when you sing a song, there's a spirit of that song, and that spirit and there's a feeling and a spirit to that song.
you're right. There is.
And so there's actually with words, with songs, with pretty much anything that is energy and motion is not only a spirit, but it is a being. It is a being.
Well, you guys,
It influences us as that being.
Oh yeah, it does. That's for sure.
That's why the American Indians, they can just be going, hey, hey. They're not saying any words. They're just pulling
Nope.
up feelings.
They're vocables. That's what they're called, vocables. So
Hey,
yeah,
hey, all that, and they know what they're feeling, and I guess the people around them kind of know what they're feeling too.
yeah. Well, if you send that energy out, those that recognize that energy are going to know immediately what that feeling is. And that's where we get hung up on words. We think we got to have words. We don't. We don't have to have words
We get hung
at
up on
all.
the meaning and not the spirit.
Yep,
As soon as you shift over
right.
to start thinking
You,
about the spirit, then all of a sudden that's a different kind of a thing.
right, exactly.
It's a
That's
different kind
like
of
with
life.
singing. that joy. If you just like you're gonna sing hey ah hey, then if you went joey, 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 then you're because we recognize that as a positive thing, we're doubling that energetic sharing of putting that out there, because if you get into singing joy, you're going to be feeling joy, and other people are going to pick up on that too.
And that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And because look, when you have bad self-image, bad self-talk, negative Nancy kind of things that feeling all the time, those are spirits. And the more you say them, the stronger the spirit gets.
Yeah. Yeah. You give it power.
What's nice about the spirits as beings is you can talk to them. I don't want to be negative anymore. I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of it. And you can make agreements, let's do this, let's do that. And that's the spirit world, which I'm kind of a retard, but anyway, I'm still working on it.
You can't say retard. Can you?
As a negative connotation to you.
No, retarded just means that you're in it. You're not.
You're behind.
Yeah, you're behind. You're slowed down.
You're behind.
You're not as advanced. Yeah.
Yep. Woo, that's hot.
How do you make magic coffee? Well, that's tea. You're a two-tea bag person?
Oh, big time. This is chai tea.
Oh,
and organic turmeric and ginger and honey.
Oh my God, I love chai. You're making.
Oh, I do too. Oh, it's my favorite.
In 20 years, I'm sure, maybe 30 years. It's so good.
Yep, it's my favorite. And I use organic chai tea, so everything in it is organic, and then the organic ginger and
cardamom,
turmeric.
Right? Cardamom, that's it. Cardamom.
Oh yeah, I love cardamom. It's an awesome spice.
It's also a spirit.
Of course, everything has a spirit.
And everything, and that means it's a being, and you can talk to it. That's what
I'm trying. Yes, it does.
Practice my brain to kind of open up to that. Everything is spirit. Everything can be talked to. Everything is everything.
I agree.
Hey, we just had some good conversations. So if anybody wants to join my YouTube channel, Sasquatch BC, the true story, / the Pork and Bean Show, then you can get all this extra bonus coverage. And if you need a heap and help on the Pork and Beans, please join us on the Pork and Bean Show on Facebook. Like and subscribe. And hey, everybody, my name is Pork Cunningham. I'm here with the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans. He's got to slap himself. He can't believe it every morning. And
I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty and witty and wise. What a pity that the world can't be like me.
Really, I mean, everything we would world peace, world hunger, everything would be solved.
Yes, awesome. Oh my gosh.
And everybody would be in bliss like 100% of the time, right? Like,
yep. The handsomest man, and he's 32.
Bliss is the new normal.
The world's handsomest man with the world's handsomest heart. How does that sound?
Find your heart, get in your heart, stay in your heart. That's an American Indian thing. Even if it's not American Indian thing, I'm going to blame it on them anyway.
I think it's a universal thing. And, the thing about Native American, indigenous people, is they kept their individual cultures longer than most European people and American people, which we're European people. I mean, that's just the facts of it, and all mixed up European. But indigenous people kept their culture longer, and it was still intact here until the Europeans came, and then things started to change. So, at one point, we're all indigenous somehow. We
Well,
go back
over
to
in
that.
Europe, we had 400 years of burning people who were, indigenous people who are
Yep.
into roots, and also killing Jews and killing Muslims.
People that were
you know,
different.
yeah, anybody who was different, anything that was not
Yep.
pure Catholic, and that spawned the Reformation of the church and all of that, and that spawned people coming to America as wounded fanatics. I think that's what they were. Anyway, then they repeated what there was done to them. They repeated that to American Indians.
And that's what happens is if we don't break the cycle, then we continue to do what was done to us. And I see a lot of cycle breaking happening now. People are walking outside that and living in their heart, and bringing that to the world, and that makes me want to dance. So if the handsomest man was singing, I'd be up dancing. So there you go.
Well, start singing, Mr. Handsome Man. Let's get Ma shaking that booty.
Got to put a quarter in the machine.
Shake that booty. Remember that one?
Shake that booty.
Shake that booty.
Oh man, we are digressing. Or maybe not. Maybe we're not digressing.
Maybe we're not.
I thought this water right here's got salt in it.
Really? How come?
Yeah, I was thinking, well, we were born from the ocean, and that has salt and 100 minerals.
Mm-hmm.
So I have things like zinc, and things like iron and magnesium and things like that. That's all supposed to be in water, because we are, unless you're living right on top of a mountain, you're drinking muddy water from out of the stream or high mineral water, put it like that. And I'm just thinking, maybe it's kind of artificial to be taking tablets. The tablets need to be mixed with water because that's how it gets into the cells. I'm a cell fanatic. I like cells. They live and die for us every day.
Yep, they do.
Yeah.
They really do.
I finally had to bury my cell phone talking about cells. It fell off the back of my pickup, and a little flip top. Those things are flimsy. You know what I'm talking about, Beans? The little hinge, those little flip hinges. I've had that hinge there. I've had about 6 of those.
Well, you're a manly man. You're a manly man.
They keep breaking, and so I got like a real fancy one that I just make phone calls with.
This is mine. This one has fallen out of the semi. I just threw it on the floor. I had the dogs one day. I had it hooked up, charging it, and the dogs ran through and hit the cord and drug it off across the concrete porch. But Matthew got it for me because I have a problem with phones. I throw it several times a day, not intentionally. But it's called a Kyocera, and it's military grade. Is what it is.
Yeah, I think they got stuff like that for people. My son's got like a laptop that he has to use for his work, and it's like military grade. You can throw it out.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Yeah,
it's. I don't know how many times I've dropped it. You can drop it in water. I think you can even take pictures underwater with it. And it's not as expensive as some of the other phones. So it's a good phone for anybody who has a phone problem like me.
Maybe you just
I do.
Maybe you just have an affinity to gravity. Oh, look, there's gravity.
Oh, I
look.
do. Oh my gosh, I'm the
Affinity to
biggest
gravity.
faller.
Fall.
I'm the biggest faller in the world. I fall all the time. And the weird thing is I'm outside my body watching me fall when I fall. So and I think as I'm going down, oh, don't fall that way. Don't do this. Oh my gosh, I've fallen out of the semi onto concrete and off the trailer and here off rocks, off everything. I think it's that star seed stuff in me that that just thinks that I don't have to obey the rules of gravity.
You used to be floating around in a ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talking about cell phones, I just got a new fancy one, right? Which I don't do anything with. The only other thing I do with it, the only reason I got the fancier one is because I'm tired of that hinge breaking. Like I've had 5 of them, and they keep breaking. Like after a month, it starts cracking. But this one came right off anyway.
You just have that masculine thing, man.
Yeah.
Plus, you're 7 feet tall. Nobody knows that, but Brian is 7 feet tall.
Well, not quite that tall. 7 feet tall. Oh yeah. So anyway, so this is how conscientious and how much I care about phones. So I just got this new fancy schmancy phone, and there's this little bench in the neighborhood, and Sue and I'll go over there and sit at the bench just because it's kind of quiet. We watch the traffic go by and watch people who work, and we can laugh at them because we're retired, kind of thing. They don't know we're laughing at them. We're not being mean. We're just laughing inside, right? So anyway, so there's this bench, and I didn't go there the day before yesterday, but I went there yesterday, and I saw my phone sitting on the bench. So it was there for an entire day sitting there, and it rained out, and it rained too, but it was covered by the branches and whatever, so it didn't really get wet. But I just looked down, oh, there's my phone. So I really don't. Phones are not attached to me at the hip, that's for sure. Anyway. And I also had it in my back pocket, sat on and cracked the new thing like after a day. So, the thing you put on
you've already cracked your new phone?
Yeah, you put the thing. Well, I don't know if I cracked the actual foam, but the little protector thing you put on it. A little film thing you put on. I had it in my back pocket, and I'm sitting down, and all of a sudden I go, oh, my phone's in my pocket. So it's kind of got a little scratch and a little kind of spider bane thing in it.
Phone karma. I wonder if when we go to heaven and get a life review, if we're going to have to look at all the phones that we've wrecked and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, phone. Didn't mean to drop you in the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess we actually have a show today. So can I just give you we're going to talk about Star Nations and Sasquatch connections. But can I give you a quick, and I've gone over some of the stuff before, so I'll do the first little part really briefly. Can I give you a quick update on what's happening around here? Some of the stuff there. Because the
pre-camp out, excitement.
The pre-camp out excitement. So I'll say this for all the apers out there, give them a plug. That the natives are going ape shit up here. There's one of the apers will like. Why is it every time I start giving my pre-thing, beans goes away?
Put away my breakfast bowl.
Oh my gosh, we are so professional.
Okay, so these are just. I'm just going to. This has been going on for a couple of weeks now. I'm just going to show you a couple of the glyphs they've left and go over them briefly. And the last two, I'll just kind of explain a little more, but not too much detail. Okay. Alrighty. So here's one I just found on. These are all the ones I found in the last couple of weeks. This is pretty cool. You can see the little feather they added here.
Oh, that's
you see
cool.
That? Yeah.
That's very
But here-
cool.
Yeah. So all this has been kind of the excitement leading up to the camp out, and it's amazing how many people I've talked to that are just like talking about how they're feeling stuff and anticipation, and their guides or whatever are communicating with them about this camp out. So it should be a lot of fun, eh, Ma?
Oh yeah, it will be. That's for
Okay.
sure.
People are
Okay.
getting signs. Look at that.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah, so
that?
here's another thing they left me, and then the next day, so here's this thing, yeah, and it's tiny. It's only about 3 inches tall or something, if that. It's a tiny little thing, and it was part of a much bigger thing. And then the next day I went back and look what they did. That didn't just fall. That didn't just fall like that. They changed it. They've been adding, changing. This is all kind of excitement stuff that they've been doing leading up. So, okay. And then there's this one, which was the message, personal message for Sue and I. We talked about this with the Man Sasquatch Connected, Sue and my fish cliff, how it comes down into form of 4, which is Forstner's signature, and then X, and it's just a beautiful message. Isn't that beautiful how they just peel all these things away, and look how creative that is. Anyway, those are old ones. So this is, like I said, stuff leading up to camp out. This is the new stuff.
I love when they do this stuff.
Yeah. This is what they put in the front of our apartment. And we had just had an encounter with an owl where Sue said, "Can you answer us?" or whatever. And the owl started talking to us in the little forest across the street. And Sue saw one fly by, which you don't usually see owls in the middle of town, but I don't think, do you? Maybe you do.
They go wherever they can fly.
Okay, but whatever. Anyway, it was there was something definitely going on. And so there was a little piece of chalk. Oh, and they left an amazing cliff too. But there was a little piece of chalk at the front of our door that we both noticed. And earlier that day, and when we came back, we noticed it was all smashed. And then we saw this A, it almost looks like an AX, even almost. This A and this X written on here. And there's 26 letters in the alphabet, right? What are the chances that they picked the exact 2 that I'm most familiar with, just after having all this, all these glyphs and messages, and it was quite intense that day leading up to this. So isn't that cool?
You can't get odds on that.
No.
That would be astronomical.
Yeah. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, but I just happen to have at my front door with Sasquatch activity going on. A for RE and X for friendship welcome. Now 1 would be 1 in 26. 2, that would have to be 10, it's astronomical, right? So anyway, so they left this at the front door, and then of course this whole thing that they left with Susan, my fish cliff, and the heart, and just real sentimental kind of stuff. Oh, and this is amazing. This is the other new one. Let me just move this down here. So this is a perfect AX, suspended from a tree. This up here, this is draped over the tree. I checked it out, and not attached. And this part is draped way over, way up here and over this tree, and it comes down here and not attached. So that was hand placed, and we just happened to where we walk every morning. We saw this. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
That was just a few days ago. So that's some of the excitement leading up to the camp out. And check that out. I'm
getting the same thing here. It's just like it's exploded, and I haven't even taken pictures of everything because it's just, and they're doing that. Okay, you've got a base cliff.
Yeah. And
you can go back an hour later and it's already changed.
Or taken away. Yeah, actually, well, this one has stayed there, but this one here, this is a personal message, but it's also a general kind of message. But this one here, this was taken away very shortly after. A lot of the personal ones they take away immediately, right?
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I followed the end of these 2 vines all the way down, and they're just literally just draped over this branch and one way up here. and comes down here and they're not attached. And this, I think, is actually peeled away. I'm not sure if it, well, I'll have to look again, but it almost looks like it's peeled away from this one because I don't know how it's suspended there. But anyway. Anyway, just incredible stuff. And we can go and check it out when you get here, Ma, because it's just right
Okay.
across the road.
Sounds good.
We go over there every morning and every evening, and usually something's different. Yeah. So today's show is about star nations and Sasquatch connections. So do you want to get into some of your pictures, or do you just want to start off?
Let's see. Let's talk about that portal first.
Do we have a picture of it?
Yeah, I sent it. I
Oh,
sent
right.
the ones
Okay.
that are marked 1, 2, 3. The
Okay.
first one,
Just give me a second, then I'll have to pull them up. Okay. Oh, you know what? This is interesting. What exactly is this? Because this looks identical to what one of the things I just found in across the street from my place.
okay.
What
This
is that?
well, that right there is my walking stick leaning up against that.
Oh, okay.
So now they do acknowledge things that you do, and that
Oh,
you
yeah.
know that they'll come back and do the same thing you did. But what this is I'm showing here. You can't see the portal there. Hang on, I gotta, if I can get my Facebook off. Well, rats. Okay, it won't let me move my picture because the picture is up. Anyway, this is just the area where the portal is. I put it here so you could have a reference of what this area looks like. Now, what this is Matthew has cleared a lot of the places down in the woods, and this is one place that he he added another way to go into the woods. So if somebody's walking the trails, they can come out this way too. It was interesting because after I saw the portal, and after that, I went back down and I started walking around that area. And what I realized, that when Matthew brought this in and connected it to the other trail, and he connected it in two ways, off to the right there and off to the left of my walking stick, he had created a triangle. And, you know, a triangle, it's a creation symbol too. And it also speaks to what we can do. You know, there's all kinds of things about the triangle, or a pyramid has a triangle is a flat surface, not like a pyramid. But the triangle can shift energies, can create different things. It also has 3 points, which gives some people a sacred significance to that symbol. And so it was something that I began to see a lot of triangles everywhere. And I mean, even manifesting on my laptop. Um, but the thing is, when I went down there and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a triangle. This area where the point, and that's the point of a triangle right there. This area is a triangle. And so I started trying to, I had my phone, and so I was trying to get the coordinates on it and see which way things were oriented, either to the west or southwest or whatever. All I could get to come up on this whole thing on all three sides was north. And that's all it would do, would be north. It didn't matter which way I faced or anything else. I was only getting north.
Mm.
So I asked him, I said, did you know that when you built that other way to get into the woods and connected the trail, that you made a triangle? And he said, yes. And I said, you did? He said, yeah, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. So he had created the triangle. And the point of it, like I said, is right there, which the triangle is very significant. So anyway, I just wanted people to see that this, and you can still see in this picture some energy fluctuations.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much at its just regular energetic feel at this point. Now, not very far from this, I mean, just very close, is where I have what I call the circle, which has always been there. It's where my tent is on the platform. And it's also where the energy circle, what I call the energy center, is. And so, and you know, it's not like a long ways from the house either. So, okay, you can go to
What is that blue mark there? Is that just some
that's
sunlight?
supposed to be a one.
Okay.
That was just to
But
let
pretty,
Brian know
that's a,
that was
Oh,
number
that's a
one.
one.
that's a long one.
Well, yeah, probably.
Did Matthew, did Matthew feel he was being guided to make the triangle? Did he
Yes,
realize
yes,
that? That's
yeah.
cool.
And he just listened, you know. When he's in the woods,
Well,
he is totally immersed in being there. I know the first time that they left him and X, he was down redoing some of the trails, and he had come through this one area and there was this X in his way. And he was like, I don't know. So he come back up here and he knows, you know, about X's, but it still bothered him. He said, I had to ask you, there's an X down there on that trail that I'm going over. What am I supposed to do? And I said, they're just telling you hello, and they're letting you know that you're family and that what you're doing is a good thing. So he was like, oh boy, I just don't want to upset them ever. So, you know, it was just something that he had to feel and he had to see, you know, pretty much for himself.
now, did he not want to upset them ever because he didn't want to get them because they're big and he didn't want to get them mad, or because he didn't want to he did because of the heart and the
It's
love
his
and all that?
heart. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's the heart. It's not, he's very careful about what he does. And he talks to everything while he's out there. And they're always, if he's out there in the woods on that tractor, oh, those kids are out there. And they watch him and they'll peek around at him. And, you know, he talks to him. So, yeah, he didn't want to do anything that would hurt their feelings, basically.
No, that's good. And
Now, in this,
that's why they like him. Well,
yes,
one of the yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
in this
That's why I
one,
don't go in the woods.
They don't like you. They don't want you in there.
oh, baloney. Baloney. Okay, in this picture, you can see the portal. You can see a distortion in the leaves. and the tree. And you can also see something else there. And if you'll go to the next one for a minute, we'll be able to see more what's there. Okay. The back blue, can you see that distortion there in the energy underneath the big blue area?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yep, there is an energetic distortion there. At this picture, the one face was there. Many faces appear here. And somebody was saying, well, it's like they're standing there on the other side looking through at us, and you get a glimpse of them every now and then. So where that blue is in front on that tree, that is the point of the triangle. Now, if you'll blow this up a little bit, Todd, I think you can see it better. Now you really can see the distortion in the energy there. So on that, down at the front, on a tree, and this, it's kind of hard to see it on this. On my original, you can see it really well. There are 3 white snakes. One has crawled up the tree a little ways, and his head and part of his body is sticking off to the right.
Is this one?
No, down here by the blue. This, right? Okay, go to that tree that's right there, and that smaller. Go to the left. No, the one that's in, there you go. In that right there, there is a snake. Can you see the white where, and see the head goes out?
Yeah.
And then there is another snake that is coming up the tree. And then there is one on the ground that is just to the tree. And you can see his head getting ready to go up.
Okay.
There are no white snakes here like this. And white snakes are, they're protectors. They have many special energies. And so they are a part, and there being 3 was significant as well. So I don't think my cursor won't work on this to show you. But it was pretty interesting. I had walked by that area that day, and I had okay. Ryan,
what did I do?
you left a bunch of stuff on there.
It was a showtime audios. You're supposed to die with the
There we go.
There we go. I screwed up. Are we still looking at those pictures? Should I bring them
Nope.
up again?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. We got the star version we wanted at some point. Sorry about that.
That's okay. But the
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, what?
That's what you always say.
Oh. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We still got this star person here.
yeah, we'll
You wanna
come
look
to
at-
her in a little bit. Okay.
Okay, I'll just take it off then for now. Okay.
Yeah. Put the portal back on.
Ma, why'd you tell me to put it on when I took it off?
I didn't tell you to take it off.
Well, that's true. Okay. I guess I'm just. There we go. That good?
I don't see it.
Give it a second to come up.
Oh, maybe I didn't. Hold on a minute. There we go. That
Okay.
better?
Yeah, that's okay. The thing with this portal is that it's around the moon phases, the full moon and the new moon. It's very active. So that tells me it is a portal that is connected to moon energy. And one of the things I'm going to talk about with the star person is moon energy. And so I know that when I'm approaching the new moon and the full moon, that this is going to be active. When I walked by this area, I did not see it at first. I felt it. And I knew what that feeling was. So I stopped, I looked, and I went, okay, I'm going to take a picture. And so I took a photo, and I didn't look at it, at that point. And I went back to the house, and this is very much what I saw was that it's like the energy is darker right there in the center of the big blue mark. Right there, you'll see two trees, and there at any given time there could be one face, there could be two faces, there could be pretty much anything. But for me, that
almost looks like a big face here, this whole thing.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing where I've got that marked off to one side, that fluctuates and will get bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller. And a lot of people think a portal's got to be round to be a portal. No, it doesn't. It can be any particular shape. There is nothing that says this has got to be a circle. And there is nothing to say that it won't pulse from one figure to another at any point, because it is an active thing energetically that is doing this.
Yeah,
and
people have reported portals being doorways, like square doorways, and
mhm,
other people have reported them being mirror like a big full
yes,
length mirror. So I don't know if there's any rules for portals.
I don't think so. There's none that I know of. But there's been so much going on here. Um, I more or less expected something more to manifest as far as portals, and this is a very special area out where this is as well. Um, so it was like, okay, there all these things are manifesting and going on, and so now I have this active area, and there's a lot more that goes with this triangle, but I'm not going to get into it right now. I will at some other time, but it's connected to the star people as well.
Well,
And
wait a minute.
so,
Wait a minute. Why don't we want? How long is it going to take to get into it? Maybe we should get into it. That's what the show's about, right?
okay, we can get into it. Okay. About 3 years ago, um, they started coming a lot, the star people, and talking to me. And I've
You
always
know,
talked to them, but never to the point of them doing that, because something was, you know, going to happen, I guess. The energies were shifting big time at that
yeah.
point, for
Any
me, for sure.
any particular Star Nations beings that you're in contact with more, or is it just whoever?
They're a group. They're from different constellations, and so they all carry their own energy as to where that they're from. One of them, whom I call Ishtar, He is from the constellation Pegasus. And I don't hear a lot about that being from Pegasus. But the interesting thing is those that are coming are from constellations that are all there in the area of Pegasus. And that, of course, is north, is usually in the northern sky. So that tells me that this I mean, the North for me is from the ancestors, the Star Nation people, those who carry the wisdom of the ages, and they are the ones that instill that in us. And so I was given something to build. Matthew and I were a structure. And there were very specific as to how that structure should be. And it was to be in a triangle, and it will have 3 points coming out from each of the corners of the triangle. And they had told me where I should put that here. And so I have a drawing of it, and I've talked with, with some people about it. I haven't talked a whole lot about it, but they told me that it was a place where we can go to travel through our hearts. And they've asked me to do that here. Well, Matthew too. I mean, everything I do here, he's included in, even if he's got to be doing more of the work than probably I would be physical. But they had given me a place to put it. Well, we would start to do it, and something would happen, and we couldn't do it. And it was down to one of us would get sick, or something else would stop it when we were getting ready to start the construction. And then back behind the land here, someone sold some lots. And I can't see the people. I mean, the woods and everything are in the way. And where this was going to be was up on the highest point of this land. And it would be very visible to anyone who walked for a ways up to that area of the land right now. There's never been anybody back there for over a mile or more for years and years. And someone moved in back there after they had told me where it needed to be. Well, I knew at that point that there would be another place for this, because it just needed a place where you weren't concerned about somebody watching. And not that you're going to do anything that would be weird, but it just needed to be a private place. So we sat with it, and we talked about another place here on the land, and that didn't feel right either. I wasn't getting any yeses on that. And then when the portal appeared, and then when I realized that it was a triangle, it was like, well, guess what? Guess where this is going to go. So that's part of what we'll be doing this winter, is getting this set up as how it should be. And the interesting thing is a lot of the trees on the inside of this triangle have died. And so they all need to be taken down anyway, which will open up that area on the inside of the triangle. And so that structure will go inside this triangle. Now, am I saying you're going to come and sit on this and you're going to be transported? No, I am not saying that at all. That is not what this is about. Through your heart, you can travel anywhere you want to travel, and see pretty much anything that you want to see. So all of this manifesting, and then the three snakes coming up and bringing their energy. I mean, where this is at, you can't see it from anywhere around the property at all, and on property that is not part of our property here. So it is totally secluded from, I mean, if I'm meditating, I don't want somebody pulling up on an ATV and looking at me over the fence. So that's pretty much, you know, what's going on there. After Ishtar came and we talked about the place, others have started to come to talk to me. And, you know, the reason that they're coming to me is because my heart's open to them. It's always been open to them. And I don't have a problem talking about what it is we need to be doing, you know, for this earth and for ourselves and all of this energy. So they know very well that what they tell me and what they share with me, that I'm going to share, and it doesn't bother me what anybody says about it.
Right.
Because it'll either resonate with you or it won't. And I don't have to worry about that at all. All I have to do is continue to be the seed planter and share what it is that, you know, they're giving me.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I've sat here and looked at that portal and I've seen it change. I've seen other faces appear. Now, is that pareidolia? I think it's just the fact that my heart's open to see what the universe has to show me. And I'm not concerned if someone else thinks that I'm delusional because I do that. I
Well,
know.
maybe pareidolia isn't understood. Maybe it is what the universe wants to show you, and it's just.
I think you're right.
It's just coming through in pareidolia.
Yep. I think what we did, and this goes along with what Michael was saying earlier about everything being a spirit and you talk to it. What pareidolia does is it's some natural thing in your body for you to see faces. We have forgotten that we are related to everything. That face is a relative. And so what's happening is people are opening up to this again. And they're seeing that. That's a relative right there. Well, maybe it is a rock, or maybe it's a tree, or maybe it's a cloud, but it's all relatives. And so we are recognizing that now. And I would much rather recognize that relative than be worried about somebody saying, oh, it's just pareidolia. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people who used to scream pareidolia that open their hearts and they're seeing all kinds of stuff now. And, you know, I love that. But yeah, I am willing, you know, to speak out about what I'm being given, no matter what anybody else says. I'm not concerned. If anything, through my whole years of speaking out about the Sasquatch people, And from day one, I'm talking paranormal woo because that's all I know from the time I've been born. It's not paranormal to me. It's not outside the normal of what I see. It is my normal. And
Yeah.
I had no problem talking about that. I remember doing a show, oh my gosh, years ago, about the picture that I have of the old white one who was in transition to cloaking. And it was like, well, the chat was quite interesting. And then I talked about Kashima hiding me or cloaking or whatever you want to call it with him so that I couldn't be seen. Uh, and that just added to the furor of, well, she is crazy. She is, she's delusional and all that. And it didn't bother me. I didn't go after people. I didn't tell them, you can't say that about me or anything else. They have the right to think what it is they think. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with their perception of me. And their perception of me is not me. And so it's not anything that bothered me. It was what I was supposed to do. It is what I said I would do. And so I did it. And, here I am doing it again. It's just an extension of what I know about the Sasquatch as star people. So they're all relatives. The star people are relatives too. Many indigenous tribes tell you that from their stories. So this is
Yeah.
not a separation out here of, oh my God, this is an alien that's going to come and going to do all this stuff to me. And yes, they have, through the years, have watched us, have checked on us, and some of the abductions, that's what they were. All they were doing was checking on our progress. And
Mhm.
I heard a term the other day, cosmic anthropologists. That's what star people are. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. Cosmic, yep, anthropologists.
And there's
They
a
are
lot of
watching
them. And
us.
there's a lot of them. We people in here think about one or two different kind of aliens. There's like 2,000 different kind of aliens that have been reported coming to the earth in any given year. Most of them
Yeah,
just fly by, take a few selfies and take off.
yeah. So, and they are not here to harm us, just like the Sasquatch are not here to harm us. They are here to help us. And I see that more and more coming out now with so many people. I'm definitely not the only one. There are so many people who are speaking out now, and it's because they are trusted by the star
Mm.
people. They know that they're not going to be concerned about somebody telling everybody else, oh, that woman's crazy or that man's crazy, or, they've been all kinds of derogatory marks. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not what we do. I'm going to plant the seeds because I was given the seeds to plant. I'm not going to let those seeds die away. I'm going to continue to plant whatever seeds I'm given to plant.
And you don't want to be selective with the seeds. They won't understand this or that or whatever.
Yep.
You got to give it all or nothing.
Yep.
Like, I mean, you got, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like you. I mean, well, I don't, couldn't care less what people think, but because it's so important what we have to say or what
Yep.
they have to say, not what we have to say. We're just
Yep.
messengers, but what they have to say that, who cares what, it's beyond the point of what people think or judgment and all that stuff, because that's all part of what they're saying, and that's wrong. And so it's just too big, and it's too important to worry about what people are going to think. You just got, I mean, people really, anybody listening to this who, is telling like the half truths or whatever, and I'm not criticizing you, but if you're holding stuff back because you're worried about what people are going to say, now's the time to start talking and be honest, because it's time for the truth to come out there, and not half truths, and not like, oh, I don't want to be look like a nut or something, because it's time for truth to come out. So I mean, we have to tell the truth. That's the only way it comes out.
That's all I know to do, is to share, what I've been given. And
Right.
I didn't question what it was
Get off
that
of there.
they're telling me. I didn't question that at all. I know, what I'm supposed to do, and I do it with love because I think it's important. And, hopefully what I share is going to help. If it only helps one person, and that person helps a person, and that person helps a person, then, it's worth it. And so all of that talk about me just is irrelevant.
Yeah.
They can't touch me unless I let them touch me. And, that it's just not going to happen.
And I'm not saying this with any kind of mischievous, like delight or whatever, but like Randy Briston and I apparently have YouTube channels talking about us, just dedicated to like that we're hoaxers and this and that and the other thing. And this doesn't give me any delight, but if those guys actually knew that I haven't even looked at it and I don't give a crap, that would be the worst thing that they could hear. Like, you know what I mean?
It doesn't.
I heard about it, and then I just said, okay, whatever. Hey, if it makes you happy and makes your day, and it's what fulfills you, then go for it, man. But it's not on me.
No, it's
right.
And that's the thing. Through the years, anytime someone started something or anything, the only thing I can do is to send them peace and love, and to see them through my heart. And that's all I know to do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I mean, the Star Nation people, oh my gosh, it's like there are so many that are here now, and have been here, you know. But now it's like, so many are humanoid looking, that are so close to us. They can be sitting next to you, and you might not even know that that's what it is. And that could be a very pleasant person, so we've just got to open our hearts, because that's the only way you're going to get through anything, is to have that heart open to this awesome universe that's here. And I mean, science now is even jumping into all this with quantum energetics and all the other things, that are going on. So in the Flash of Beauty, Paranormal Bigfoot, there's a guy in there that is going to talk a lot about uh, putting things with science. And I think that that's probably a very good thing, because for some people, science has got to have their eye on it, and they're not going to listen any other way. It doesn't matter what they hear unless they have an experience. But science gives it credibility. Now, for a lot of us, that's not the point. I mean, science never factored into anything I shared. I've told people for years, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just going to share my experiences. And the only thing I ask, you don't got to believe me, but file it away. Don't just throw it out, file it away, because maybe you have an experience or somebody that you trust has an experience. Then you've got something filed away that you can go back and look at and go, wait a minute, I heard some, where is that? And
Mhm.
maybe that thing that you started to throw out is still filed away, that it starts to open you up to think, well, maybe there is more. And
That's one of
once
the
you
good,
come,
yeah.
yeah, once
That's
you come to that, then, if you can open that heart, hang on. That's all I
that-
can say, because it's going to be an awesome ride.
that's one of the beauties of this show is that is all those eureka moments are coming from people all the time, and even myself or all of us on shows. We have the experiences of being validated by other people having virtually the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
and I mean, like, strange stuff that seems like crazy. Like a Sasquatch appearing out of thin air or something, and then
Well,
somebody
that's like, yeah, my kitchen. Okay,
yeah.
I've talked about this before.
Oh,
There's a portal in my kitchen.
you had one appear in your kitchen.
No,
Dogs,
but
dogs
the
come in.
dogs do. And the first time it happened, Amy Faye was outside. I'd let her outside, and she hadn't come back in a while. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not like her. So I asked Matthew, I said, did you see Amy Faye anywhere? And he's like, no, I haven't seen her. So I'm getting ready to go outside. I go out on the porch in front and I call her, and I'm not seeing her anywhere. And so I'm getting ready to go to the woods to look for her. And Matthew's standing in the door. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go around and I'm going to go back by the circle and then I'll come down. And he says, wait a minute. She just walked out of the kitchen. Now, she wasn't in the house at all. She was outside, but she came into the house from the kitchen, and there's no door to outside in that kitchen. It happened with Malibu, but it happened in reverse. Malibu was in the house with us, and then all of a sudden, she's not in the house. Where'd she go?
Yeah.
She's outside.
I wonder if they go and play with them on the other in the
Oh,
portal
yeah.
or whatever. Because
Oh, yeah.
because I've had I had two incidents when Sparks was alive there that he just disappeared
Yep.
and all of a sudden he was back, and I got and I
Oh,
don't know if
yeah.
he went I don't know if he went to a portal or they just like took him off and played with him and then returned him. But
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that happen in my kitchen. And so we've just laughed and said, there's a portal in my kitchen. They used to come and get Watto uh, sometime after midnight. They would
yeah.
come, she slept in the living room, and I slept back here in my room. And they would come sometime after midnight, and they would bring her back about the time I would wake up a
Oh my
little
God.
before. And I heard the door that one day, that living room door, and I got up and I thought, okay, I'm going to check this out. And Watto was laying there on the floor in front of the couch, and she did this thing whenever she came in from outside playing. She went straight to that couch. She got up against it. She rubbed her back all over it, onto her back. Her legs were flying everywhere, and she would just wiggle on her back. And then she would roll over and go to sleep. And I was like, have you been outside? And so it got to where it happened a lot. And I just told them, I said, okay, if you're going to take her out, that's fine, but you make sure you bring her back in. And of course, she was always then, in. So, whether there's an actual portal in my kitchen or that's where they chose to bring them back in, I don't know. But like I said, there's a lot of things that happen in my kitchen
Yeah.
anyway.
And it's kind of a fallacy that, well, not necessarily, but in a lot of cases, when people say that the Sasquatch don't like dogs, I mean, they like my dogs, and my dogs like, well, Sparky especially. Lady was a little timid, but she did wag her tail. But they would stop right in the middle of the trail, and their tails would be wagging, they'd be barking, they'd be looking off into the bush, and I knew they were looking at the Sasquatch, and I could feel them too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's not, I mean, they well, I guess it depends on how the dog reacts with them or whatever, and what the intentions are, but it's not when people say that they hate animals and whatever, or dogs or whatever,
They
that's
don't.
not
No.
necessarily true, and probably not often true. So the other thing is what do you talk about while we're talking about this, because this would kind of put a little cherry on top of this part of the discussion, is when and because other people have experienced this, like Barb Shoop experienced this with Gabby, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Yep.
you experienced it with Watto. So I mean, you were saying that
Oh, yeah.
they loved Watto and they took her out and play with her or whatever. So what do you talk about how they grieved with Watto and how they celebrated her
Oh
after
my
she left?
gosh. When she died, I mean, it was almost like there was a vigil here because she took about 3 days, I guess, to go all the way down. And those 3 days I spent laying by her. She didn't seem to be in pain. So I wasn't too concerned about that. Um, but when she did die, um, they grieved too.
Yeah.
There was almost complete silence around the cabin when for 3 days. I mean, it was just totally void of pretty much anything. Um, I felt their presence. I knew that they were there. And so I just I just got through those days the best I could. But what they did on that last day, I buried her there close to the cabin, and it's pretty rocky ground, so it was some doing to dig that grave for her. And when I couldn't totally fill it in, so I had a piece of plywood that I placed over her place. And the next morning, they left a glyph, and I've got a picture of it that looked like her. And anybody that knew Watto knew her tongue always stuck out the side. And that tongue was evident in the glyph.
Oh
And
my.
so, they honored that. They put that on that plywood. And because they cared, and they
Yeah.
cared for me, they cared for her. No one else came down in there, and no one else knew where I buried her to begin with. It just looked like there was a piece of plywood laying there. So no one would know, to even come in there to do that. But when they did that, it was like something in my heart didn't hurt quite as much.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things was she died up here at the house because there was air conditioning up here at the house and I didn't have electric at the cabin. But I wanted to bury her down by the cabin. And so I put her on the wagon and I was taking her down to the cabin to bury her. I had taken her all the way. I had forgotten what I wanted to wrap her in. A friend of mine had given me a towel, a beautiful, beautiful towel, and it was huge. And so I wanted to wrap her in that. So when I was coming back up to the house, before I got there, I looked and there on the front porch, trying to get in the front door, was Watto. And that's what she would do. She would get ahead of me and she would run to the front door and stick her nose into the corner of the door and the door facing and stand there on the steps and wait for me. And, and, I was like, I spoke to her and she just took off. So I went in and got it and went back down and wrapped her up. And then, buried her. And then for 3 days, it was like everyone was honoring her. There wasn't a deep mourning, like they were mourning for her, hurting for her. It was more a compassion type of feeling about that. And then when they did the glyph, it helped my heart so much. And
Yeah.
I just said, okay, Watto, now you can go run with them. Now you can play all the time with them. And
Wow.
so it helped me tremendously, them showing me how much they cared. So no, Watto was taught to be respectful. She was never taught to go after anybody and do that, and especially for them. And I mean, they had a very personal relationship, and I can tell story after story about how Watto would get out. And one night we were sleeping in the tent in the pasture because she couldn't run off if she was in the pasture, and she needed to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't going to let her out because I didn't want to have to go out and get her. Well, I finally let her out, and it was 30 minutes, and she was still not back. And I'm calling and calling, and she's not coming. So I'm like, I'm going to have to get out and go get her because I want to go to sleep. So I got my flashlight and I walked out, and I'm going, and the grasses were pretty tall in the pasture. And I hear movement. And so I walk over towards the movement and I shine my flashlight. I called Watto and I said, Watto. And I shined my flashlight, and she was laying as flat as she could get on that ground trying to hide from me. And about that time, I heard somebody run off to the side through the pasture. So she was out there playing with somebody and wasn't coming back. And that was a normal thing. If Watto and I were out walking, Indigo was out there walking, off into the tree line with us when we were.
Mhm.
So it's not that they don't like dogs. I've heard so many people say that they have seen them with dogs. So it's about respect. And if there's one thing that they teach us, it is to be respectful always.
What do you think's going on
So,
when they
yeah.
when people report seeing them with like wild animals, like with like wolves or something or whatever? What do you think's going on with that?
They're all neighbors. They all live out in the same places. Uh,
No, but it's
you
almost
know,
like they're part of like a family unit, or like they're almost
uh,
interacting as part of a group.
Well, the one thing that we have found through life is that everything out there is a neighbor and
Yeah.
has a symbiotic way of living. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to take something for food, because that's a 3D existence. If you're going to live in this 3D, you're going to have food. And so they do this, but it's very much honored. Now, we may misunderstand how they go about it, or how anything goes about it, how a fox takes a chicken or whatever. We may think that is so horribly wrong when it is the natural way of this dimension and living.
Yeah. 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 I gotta go fill up my coffee there. You want to take the realm for a bit, Beans?
Sure. I had a question back to the portal.
Hmm?
You teased us by saying you were going to build a structure, and I just wanted you to see how far you could go into that. Is it going to be like a building with a roof on it, or is it going to be
No.
stick figures? Is it going to be a bench that everybody you could sit around and meditate on or
Um,
something?
I'll send you a picture of it. I have it drawn out. It is basically, it is a triangle that will be a platform. Now, not it'll be a platform that's low to the ground. In other words,
Like a stage.
um, something that you could set on. And coming out at each point, there will be crystals that will be set at each point and will go out straight from that. There'll be 12, and that's for 12 chakras. So there are more. Most people know there are more than the 7 that most people talk about. There are many, many. And within the 12 chakras, you're connected to the earth, basically, within the mother. And then you come up through the chakras and you are connected to the universe. And so this is basically, those will go out from each point.
Yeah, so that's
And so,
like a little deck or a little stage or something.
yeah, just a place to go and to be able to
But it's
set.
also going to be right next to this portal, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, that portal
Almost
is,
in it.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know how big that portal gets either. I've seen it smaller than that, what we see in that picture. Um, and so, I don't doubt that it would encompass all of that. I'm not telling people that, I built a transporter like on Star Trek to beam somebody up. That's not at all what this is about. It's about taking yourself to a space where you totally open your heart. You're there, grounded in the mother, but you are also up into the universe. And so
Is
you're,
it big enough for you to put a 1-person tent on there or 2-person tent?
it'll be bigger than that. It would
Okay.
be big enough that more than one person. And yes, you could put a tent there if someone, wanted to sleep on there. Um, I'm probably going to have also a copper pyramid that will set there. But there's also something about like um, some of the, like the dodecahedron, all of the different symbols and forms of energy and things that are brought. Um, I don't know everything yet. Um, I'm I believe that once the structure is built, that information then will start coming. a little more. I don't have to know right now. That's not built,
that's
but
really interesting, because there's a lot of people who are working with the ley lines. They say there's a
yep,
big buzz now that the people are saying that the dragons are returning. But what they
yes,
really mean is the
yeah,
ley lines are filling out and becoming more alive,
yes, they are.
more what do
Yes,
you
they
call it?
are.
Fluid or energetic, something like that.
Yep. And this Star Nation person that we're going to talk about is works within the water connecting to those ley lines and the grids. Um, also, when I was in Oregon and Washington this year, there were some things that happened to me that connects me back into something that I was told many, many years ago um, about this. And that was when, many years ago, was when Kashima asked me to be support the grid. I post that on the new moon and the full moon to support the grid energetically. And basically, what that is us sending that light and love along that grid, which factors into the ley lines and all of the other things, that are going on.
Yeah,
So,
plus on the spiritual level, people are actually seeing dragons, being in a
oh yes,
friendship, family, relationships with dragons.
oh,
Yeah.
yes. Matthew and I both have a relationship with dragons. And it's kind of funny because when Matthew and I started getting closer to think about having a relationship, when we were just friends, um, it was his dragon that urged him to ask me. And we were talking, it was late at night, and we were talking on the phone. We'd been watching videos and stuff on YouTube together. And it got to the point in the conversation that his dragon, Oren, said, "Are you going to ask her? Why haven't you asked her yet? You need to ask her." And so he's kind of holding back. And finally, Oren's just adamant that he ask me. And so what Matthew asked me was, did I want to be his girl? And so I said, well, that's pretty cool. I had a dragon, I guess, all my life. And now I didn't know he had a dragon at that time. But our relationship came through his dragon telling him to ask me, do it. So yeah, and I talk to a lot of people who talk about the dragons. When I had to be life flighted to Tulsa, when they thought I had blood clots, and they put me in an ambulance to take me to meet where the life flight helicopter was going to pick me up. Um, I We got there and they opened up the back door. So I mean, I could walk and I could, move around and everything, but they wanted me to be as still as I could. Well, I'm laying there looking up at the sky, and oh my gosh, I'm just overwhelmed with how beautiful it is. And I look up there and the clouds are just wonderful. And I look and one of them starts changing form and I'm watching it and I'm going, that looks like a dragon. And then a dragon breaks through and says to me, are you ready to go? And I said, no, I'm not ready to go yet. I've got things to do. And he, honored me, and that was it. Now, am I delusional? Was I under some drug or something else? No, I was not. I was just my normal self, and that's what I saw. And so that dragon, if I was ready, I believe if I had said, yes, I'm ready, then I would have gone. But, and I didn't know at that time that I had blood clots on my upper and lower right lung. I had no idea. So I wasn't very far away from something that could take my life. And no, I wasn't ready.
That's
So,
amazing.
so yeah, dragons. I talk to people all the time who are dealing with dragons and that wonderful energy that they're bringing back. And through these ley lines, this connection, and the connection of the water to these ley lines and grids that this star person I'm going to talk about works with. I love how this has flowed because it's flowed into what she does, what her people do. And it's very much what you brought to the table just now, Michael.
Well, I wanted to also go back over to the animals. I was watching the latest live video from Preston Dennett. He was one of our guests,
Mhm.
Preston Dennett, and he's a really big out of body experiencer. And he brought this lady on, and she's actually written 100 books over like what is since
Wow.
1990 on everything. Because when they go to the other side, there's like different
Yeah.
realms of heaven, and then there's higher realms, and there's a lower realms, and they're saying, well, there's ETs over there. And then at one point they got into talking about dogs and animals and pets. They say that they meet you on the other side, and they're
Yeah.
just as they're just as connected to you over there as they are over here. So once you have a dog or a cat or an animal in your family feeling, then or now I'm sure it's going to be Sasquatch too, or in a family feeling, then they will be with you even out of your body, even going into the other dimensions. The other thing that I wanted to say about that is that they since Preston Dennett is about ETs and stuff, there's three of them on the panel, and they all agreed that that when they were left their body, they like astral travel. They left their body. They were asked if they'd seen non-humans, not seen ETs, and they all agreed that they had. That they're ET people. When ET people leave their body when they're in dream time, or when they're dead, going into the afterlife, they're as common on the other side as we are. So that and they hang out, and there's all just different types. The people who look human, and the people who don't look quite so human, and then there's the whole bunch of extraterrestrials who are just made out of light, really high vibrational light beings. And so that's
I,
just heartwarming to
I saw
know
some
Yeah.
of those. Remember the story of O? I seen those guys.
yeah.
Uh,
And that's
Yep.
just out of body experience. So, it's like what you were saying, we are related. They are in a relationship with us. They are our relatives, and there is no differentiation or what do they call it? Racism. You
No,
know,
no,
it's
the
just
soul doesn't have a race.
No,
It
judgment.
it
It comes down to
is
judgment, basically. Yeah.
well, we humans tend to have that physical thing to represent who we are when this is the body that my soul uh, chooses to work through on this earth at this time. And, so, but that's part of that 3D understanding of the physical and learning to understand that the physical is not the soul. It's not really who you look like other than at this time that you're
Yeah.
here. So anyway,
So
Yes, you can put that star person up, Brian.
I just wanted to ask you
Mhm.
if you wanted to answer this first, or well, we
Okay,
get to the
I
star
can.
person. But you said you've met a lot of different, you've actually seen a lot of different Star Nations people in their real
Mhm.
form or whatever. Like I found out, for instance, just for interest's sake, and maybe describe some of the other ones. If you can, I don't know what the extent of your knowledge is, but I had that experience as a mantis person or whatever. Do you know anything about like mantis people and the lion people and some of the things about them? Can you describe some of their
I
attributes?
don't. I have not worked, or I've not personally worked with the mantis people. I do know about them from what other people, are talking about as well. There are those that have a very lion energy about them. Um, one of them was he was very big, and I say he because that was the energy that I got from what he looked like to me. Um, that masculine, large masculine, very much a protector. Um, it was like huge power, huge
Mm,
power, but family, family, everybody's family. I have not really worked with them or talked with them. I have talked with the Arcturians. Um, they're they have a very wonderful, loving, caring, benevolent energy. And
how
I
many
think
years do
my
you think? How many?
motive is,
How many years do you think they're ahead of us? Million years? I mean, maybe technology probably isn't as important to them, and it's probably just totally
yeah,
different.
well,
Not in how it works, but even how it's
yeah,
thought of or whatever. But
well,
how far in advance of us do you figure they are? I'm sorry for interrupting you.
boy, that would be hard, hard for me to answer. Um, they are just and have used, uh, and I don't even like to call what they do or what, how they are from day to day. I'm trying not to use words that are human words to describe it, but what they do easily that most people consider as an ability. I mean, what can you do? What can you accomplish if your heart's open as far as manifesting or bringing things? It's unlimited.
Yeah.
And we are now beginning to understand that.
Well, we're doing it all the time. We're doing
Yes,
it.
we are.
I mean, but it's we're not focused enough, or it's not whatever. So you may not see it,
Yeah.
like in real
Well,
time. But every like Sasquatch told me, and like I mean, on some level, every thought and action is recognized and felt by everything. So
it
we're
is.
doing it. We're doing it all the time. But they just have
Yeah.
such a refined understanding of it. You know, that's why like even though we have had those abilities, that's why the Sasquatch and these, I guess, some of these Star Nation people can do the things that we consider to be magic, but it's just basically energy and the understanding of energy and
That's it,
understanding,
you know.
right?
So, are there multiple dimensions or that are separate from each other? No, I don't think they're separate at all from each other. I think each one is a part, has a part in all of them. Humans are in this third dimension right now. And, what are the things to learn in this dimension? Uh, what the physical is, how do the physical humans, what do we do, how do we act, what do we need? And of course, all of these things, once we start changing our vibration, then we began to understand that in this, what we consider another vibration, we don't need those things. There are other things that are going to take the place of those things that we think we need as a human. Money, for one thing. Got to have
Right.
money. That's our energy now of having a purchasing power to get what it is we need. We don't really need money if we would let go of that concept and see each other as a relative, and that I can supply this and they can supply that. And so
Yeah.
we all share those things. And so if you have all of those basics, then you're taken care of, and money hasn't become a thing.
Yeah.
People say money's the root of all evil, and no, that's not right. They say the love of money is the root of all evil. And the thing about it is, there's nothing evil about it. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with using an energy in a good way. And that's what we do when we manifest. And I'm not talking about manifesting things necessarily. I'm talking about, manifesting through the heart. And, that's an important thing. One thing a lot of people say, oh, they are so far advanced than us. Well, if you take a human who is totally not open to anything outside this physical, flesh and blood, science based life. When they begin to open up and they have this epiphany that, whoa, maybe that isn't that. And they begin to learn. And then they begin to truly open that heart. And then you get to this area where people are literally living in their heart. You could say, well, those people that are living in their heart are more advanced than those who are living in that flesh and blood science-based world. I don't think
Right.
it's an advance. I think it's just a change in vibration. And it's the same with the star people. They vibrate differently. The Sasquatch people can vibrate differently.
Yeah,
And
I like
so
that. That makes so much
when
sense.
those vibrations begin to raise, then, all of these things that we're saying, well, they do or whatever, those things are right there for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's all behind the Sasquatch lessons or whatever too. That is it's getting into the heart or whatever. That's the evolution and the advancement or whatever.
Yep.
It's not technological. It's knowing
Nope.
it's knowing oneself and in a general term, but like in
Yep. Changing that vibration.
absolutely. Well, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
I like
Amazing.
what Brian was saying when he was saying that every word you speak and every thought you think it has the ability to be vibrated across the whole entire
It
universe.
does.
They showed me that. I saw it in a real illustration. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Dean.
and I think that's closer to the reality. And what I wanted to say
It
is,
is.
what I wanted to say is that means there is no point of reference of higher and to lower.
No.
That's not
No.
an actual thing.
No,
Nope.
that's higher and lower and better and worse. That's judgment.
That's 3D.
That's
That's a
judgment. That's what
3D
happened
thought.
that's what happened when that little weed talked to Sue when she was admiring the beautiful flower and said, "What about me?"
There you go.
It was teaching her a lesson in judgment.
Well,
And I'm beautiful too,
let
and
me
I'm
finish
worth. Yeah,
filling out what I was going to say.
yeah,
It's like, so here we are in this human body, right? We are spirit possessing this human body. We come into this human body and we possess it. We are the ruler. But part of that is we ourselves are possessed by the life force, the light of life. So God is actually in possession of us while we're in possession of our body. This is interesting because every breath we take is God's breath. God is breathing it. So every breath is God's breath. That's the way it is, because our spirit as it is can't do what can't keep life in the body, but that God force, the life force, can. So if you think of it that way, every breath we take is in direct connection to the God force. And so how can there be so much separation that you could think that there'd be so much separation when every breath you take, every heartbeat is the life force itself, the creator itself. To me, there's a comfort in that. It is our mind that says, no, God is over here.
Right.
But as soon as you put God in your breath and God in your body, it's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and isn't it funny that all the cultures that kind of preached that and talked about that, like the First Nations or the American Indians, however you want to refer to them, and just about any culture that what do they do to them? That they burn their books, they destroy their culture, they put them in schools, they don't want that lie exposed, and the indigenous people certainly were not living. They were living closer to they weren't perfect. They had wars and they fought with each other too, but they were living closer to nature and closer to the land and closer to God, I think, than what we are. And and it's funny, Crazy Horse. Oh, I just got a big tingle when I said that. And I was like, he's here or whatever. Yeah, he is. When he said, I envision a time when all colors of man are under the, what he said? Remember, he said all colors of man are joined together or something. I can't remember the exact words, but now I'm getting emotional. But
Brian's voice cracked. Brian's voice cracked.
Do you want me to find that quote?
Arla's voice cracked too. Maybe I should start.
Do you want me to find that quote? It was Crazy Horse. So he said he envisioned a time when the Red Nation came back and all colors of everybody would be under the earth together.
Yep.
Kind of thing,
Yep.
basically. Wow,
So,
I just got a big energy confirmation when I know it sounds crazy, but I actually had contact with the spirit. I told you about that. Remember, Arla? And he just hit me up big time right there. It's amazing how we connect with these and what a powerful being. Like, I'm a little emotional. What a powerful being. Everybody loves their own leaders and whatever, and their prophets or whatever. But Randy Brisson, he called Crazy Horse the Jesus of his people. So he was something.
Okay.
We're all getting emotional now.
Let's have the picture of the star person.
Okay.
I
was trying to think with Sue today too. I'll bring that up. And as I was thinking of that, we had a guest on recently who was talking about, like, there's a room when you go to the other side where you see your life review, and there's also another room where you can watch any event throughout the history because it's all recorded or whatever. And I was just thinking, what would I want to watch? What would I want to watch? I know that your priorities would change when you're on the other side, but from my point of view right now, what would I want to watch? I was thinking, well, the Battle of Little Bighorn would be one. I would like to, for some reason, I don't know. Watch that in real time.
I don't know. I don't want to watch any fighting.
I don't want to watch you fighting if someone gets under your skin. That's what I'm afeared of.
Well, the world doesn't have to worry too much about me getting too bad. I don't.
That's funny. Okay, here we go. We're gonna bring your friend up here.
Okay. And Ashley Stennett,
Oh,
she drew this for me. I had a Arla drawing of her, and I asked Ashley if she would do this for me, and she did. This is she calls herself. They are a moon water people, and they primarily work with the waters. That's what they do. The part on the top of her head is actually shell. And they're like in hexagonal plates, is what it's like. And so they are this pink color. They're kind of shiny, like a shell would be, but they move kind of like skin would move, I guess. Her skin is this kind of a salmon pink color. Her eyes showed no visible, like ours, pupils and whatever. That is her nose, the black that goes across. Their noses are, they don't stick out like our noses do. They are there and visible, but it's like they're
what?
under translucent skin.
Yeah.
And that is her mouth at the bottom, that small.
Is that head more fish scales or
It's
reptile?
it is not reptile, it is not fish scale, it is shell.
Oh,
It is actual shell, is what it
shell.
is. Shell. Yeah. And like I said, it has movement as each individual hexagon shell is attached, but it has movement as well. So no, it's not reptile at all. I've had people ask me, is that a reptilian? No, it is not a reptilian at all. This is a water person.
Well, yeah.
What they primarily do is work with the water on moons. Now, they do work with the water on planets as well. And what they do is, let's take, for instance, the Earth. When the Earth was being birthed and the waters were here, they would go to Earth and they would assist the energies of the water. And as the earth then begins to be created and the energy grids or whatever are placed around the earth or a moon, it could be either, that water flows along those lines too. And the interesting thing is that what Kashima asked me years ago to share in supporting the grid, which encompasses ley lines and energetic things, is part of what her people do, the water people, the moon water people. And it was interesting to me because they have worked with Kashima's people forever. And that when I started putting all this together, I wasn't thinking about Kashima or anything else when she comes and she talks to me and tells me about the things that her people do. She, one of the things that they're working with on the earth right now, and that would be why she would be here. And like I said earlier, the reason that she came to me is because I'm willing to share what it is that her people are doing. And basically, that just lets people know that these star people, different ones, are helping us in different areas of helping to sustain these. So not only do they come when a moon or a planet is coming into existence, being birthed, that they are there to assist with that energetically. Now, what they're doing on the earth at this time is on a moon or a planet, either one. The waters of that have to always be in energetic connection, so that you might think that there is a landmass or stone or whatever in between these bodies of water. There is an energetic connection through that. And so what they help to do is to sustain those energy connections, which is kind of what Kashima had me sharing for people to do, helping to send that energy around the grids, which factor into the ley lines, which factors in to everything. The water is something that science takes and says, okay, there's water here on this moon, on this planet. So that's the possibility of there being life on that moon or that planet. And so they are a part of that beginning. From what I understand, there are some of those who work more so with moons and planets that are in their birthing time and through the evolution of that planet growing. I was told that they're working on some of the moons around Saturn and Jupiter. And for Saturn, it was Enceladus. And on Jupiter, it's Europa. And they could possibly be working on many, many other moons in other galaxies or whatever. They are not just here. But science has said now, oh, there's water on these moons. And I didn't know anything about these particular moons on Saturn or anything until I was pointed to look at this. That science has come up and said, oh, wow, there's water here. And, what's going on with that water? And how do we know that there's water there? And I can't remember if it was beginning with Hubble or some of the new ones that have been sent out to try to understand our universe, planets and moons, that they have found that there is water there. Now, is it a viable planet for like us to live there? No, it's not. But Earth was not either when she was being birthed.
So I
And
assume
so,
that these people were there when Earth was being birthed too.
yes, they were. They very much were.
So they're very ancient.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They're very ancient because they have worked in many galaxies and universes. They are not just here. But what they're doing here on Earth now is helping the energy of these bodies of water that seem like they're not connected.
So
And so
are they actually physical or are they more consciousness?
it's kind of both, actually. They can come into the physical and show, I mean, this
So
is a
what would one, and I'm sorry, I know we're getting a little distracted, but not really because this is fascinating. So what would one look like if it came into the physical and was standing right before you? How would you, I mean, this is the
that would
face.
be
How would the body look? And
the body is very flowing. It is not totally human. The arms are not separated like our arms are. The arms, but they are not connected to the body either. They can move out away from the body, but the whole body, um, it's like a translucent skin of something. Um, and they're water people. And so they're going to have those aspects of something that actually can be physically in the water if
okay,
they choose to be.
so we've heard stories of craft going in and out of the water. Do these beings use craft?
Yes, yes, they can. They do. Um, None of the beings that we see in crafts have to use crafts.
Yeah.
They're, but
So
yes,
yeah, that's true because what. So
yeah,
I mean, and it's kind of the thing like with Sasquatch, like with RE or whatever. My opinion and my experience is that unless there was a portal in my room or they can manifest it anywhere, is that they can appear
yeah,
anywhere they want.
yeah, and
And I
they
would
can.
say, and I would say with the same thing with crap. So what's so portal or just appear anywhere you want? What's the difference?
Right.
Why
Yeah,
either
yeah,
either?
yeah,
And the craft or no craft, like it's you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like what do they need it then kind of thing is
yeah. So,
so
that sometimes that gets beyond our 3D. We just know that we know, and there's no way to explain it, but it is that knowing.
right.
And,
So
that's here.
would they be humanoid size? Would they be 6, 7 feet tall
Yes,
kind of thing or
yes, yeah, they are. They are very much like that. Um,
okay, so one more thing, and I know I'm interrupting, but I'm
you're fine.
fascinated. So you said that this being came to you. So how did that happen? This is recent, right?
No, this has been, oh, it's been over a year ago.
Oh, okay. But you're
Yeah,
just talking about it now.
yeah. And I've talked about it with a few people. I haven't, uh, I've showed a few people this drawing and we've talked about this, but no, I've never talked about it openly in a group or anything else until here recently when it was time for me to do it.
Right. And
Um,
so why did this and I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the individual, but why are they getting a hold of you? I mean, and then we can also get into, like at some point the message, because as you and I both know, the general message for at least for the benevolent Star Nations beings, and the Sasquatch could be considered Star Nations, multidimensional
they are.
or terrestrial, all three. And I guess that we could
Yep.
be too. But
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, so what are they? So the message is very much the same. So was that the reason why this being has got a hold of you to to
Be-
to give us
because
that you
I'm willing to share this, and I'm
right,
willing to talk
right,
about the connection between them and the Sasquatch people. And I've already talked about that with Kashima, having me do particular things that sustain the earth. And then Kashima's people, his direct people, came from Shamuna, which is a place of two moons. Now, from what I've been told, that the Sasquatch people came from different places. And Kashima's people were working with these moon water people when the earth was being birthed and formed. And the significance of water is very, very important now, because we understand that the water is relative. This is not just a something that we use that keeps, helps our bodies and feeds things. We water plants. It's much, much more than that. And these people live and breathe that sacredness of water all the time. And so, understanding some of the things that she's told me and the correlation of what does water mean to us? Well, water was the birthing fluid of every planet, moon, that began to sustain that planet to truly bring life to it. Now we have the stone people, but within the stone people, they hold water too. And a lot of people don't realize that stones have water in them. One of the things about a sweat lodge, and I've been in many through the years with elders and different ones, is when the stones are chosen, you can't use certain stones because they have water in them. And when those stones are heated, those stones come apart and then become more. And so stones can have water in them as well.
Arla, could I ask you a question about your little star person there? How big are they? Have you seen their body?
We talked we talked about that. They're 6 or 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's big.
Yeah, they are. They're not, I mean, it's, I would say in that 6 foot range, I'm going to have to get with someone who can draw from me telling someone what their body looks like, because it's, like I said, it's very fluid. They have arms, but the arms aren't attached to the body. It's like they have more like wings, or what, fins or whatever you want to call. And the legs are pretty much the same, but it's very translucent, that salmon color.
So they're water. They're like actual water beings, really.
Yes, they are moon people, moon water people. And
And
so,
the only thing that's actually would be bony would be that little patch on their head,
yeah, and it's shell.
which is bone.
So, yeah, they do look different. They do have some human body looking attributes, but not exactly, like we are. Um, but they're very benevolent feeling too. It's almost like I want to get the right word. there is this peaceful knowing harmony, um, loving. You know how it feels when you get into a bath and you haven't had one for a long time, and that water enveloping your body just feels so wonderful. Or when you walk in the ocean and that water comes up around your feet or your legs, and it's just like it's caressing you. It's just such a wonderful feeling. That is the energy that I feel from them. I have not talked with any others other than her, and I call her her because her energy feels feminine to me. Um, but this whole water thing is very important, and it's what sustains us, sustains the earth, and it is all about birthing something, helping that something to grow. And if we look at birth, one of the things that they say as you get closer to having a baby is that your water breaks. And inside the woman, that water is there all around that baby, holding that baby in that. And then when that water breaks, it rushes forth, then that physical baby is born. And then the sustenance of that baby, as far as water or liquid, comes from the exterior. That baby, that human has to take that on in an exterior form and put that in the body. Because we know we have to have water. We're not going to exist, you know, without water. Water makes things grow. You can look at the desert where it looks like nothing can grow there. And if you can add water to that, it becomes an oasis. So this water is very important now. And that's part of why, she came to me, because it is important, to me that this water be sustained. And, the first children's book I wrote with Indigo and Blue was Respecting the Water. And that was because we have to understand that. And so all of this that they're doing in birthing these moons or planets is working with the waters that are there. And like here on the earth right now, they are working on this energy level of ley lines. Water travels ley lines energetically. I had never heard that before until she told me that. And I saw a reference to that yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, and a little validation every now and then kind of helps you when you're, out here talking about something that, is hard for some people to grasp. But
Yeah.
they're here helping those energy grids, the ley lines, the other things, just to support and sustain that water being connected vibrationally to all the water on this earth. So if you think about all the water that's here on this earth, all the oceans, the seas, the lakes, things that you think are landlocked, they're all touching each other vibrationally, whether we see that or not.
Yeah, they say
Like everything.
They say the
Yeah.
underground water that is in the rocks under the ground, because we forget we're on a planet, and it is what, hundreds and thousand miles or something to the center. There's hundreds of miles of underground water, that is more water than is in all the oceans, which is kind of incredible to think about that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
There's
is.
more
And
water in the rocks than there
yes,
is in the oceans.
yeah. And that was one of the things that she talked to me about, was that those ley lines come through that stone, and that water will travel along those ley lines and connect. Let's say you've got the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean across the United States. Through the ley lines, energetically, that Atlantic and the Pacific are a part of each other. They're touching each other vibrationally through those energies. And that's part of what they do. They go through that, and they sustain the mother. They help her with those things. And that's one of the things we humans do. I mean, how much water do we pollute? And now when we're polluting the earth and we find out, oh my gosh, there's water that is present in the stones, and we're polluting this earth and everything else, what are we doing here? And so, if anything comes from her coming to me and telling me the things that she's telling me, and I'm sure she will have more to say, uh, if that just, helps someone to stop and think, wait a minute, you know, what are we doing? I tell people all the time, when you turn your tap on, do you think that water from coming out of that tap? Do you honor that water? That's your relative. That sustains you. When you flush your toilet, what do you do? Do you thank the water for being there to take that away? Do you think the water for being in puddles or coming from the sky and, many other things? This is our relative that sustains us. And this is part of what they help to do. They're helping us, by doing these things. Um, so it's interesting. I mean, she's talked about other things. Um, but it's just interesting to me that, some of the things she's been telling me now I'm seeing science talk about, that I hadn't seen. For anyone wanting to know anything about water, water has memory. Dr. Emoto, Masuro Emoto, if you look him up, you will find some very, very interesting things about water, and the things that we can do.
Water and human interactions.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's not just water, it's water and the
Yeah,
environment.
yeah,
Hey,
it is.
did you notice I slipped away without explaining myself? That I had a big growth moment. I've been admiring you for 4 years on the show, how you just slip away and I have to always explain myself. Well, I just did it.
We didn't even know you were gone.
Well, when you were saying thanking the water when you're flushing the toilet, that's what
You were
it
doing.
was a little bit too late because it was already going down before I thanked it. But I heard you say that and I said, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, there are many others that are coming. There is, I have a group now. It's Connections to the Star People. It is people are sharing some of their stories about their connections and things that they're seeing. Um, and it's just important, to bring these things out. And it's just a continuation of all the things that Kashima has brought and that I've done, under his guidance. And
Where,
it's
where do you, where do you find this? You say you have a group.
it's
First
on
I heard it.
Facebook. I have a Facebook. You've been invited. I don't know if you've been invited or not, but
Oh, I've been invited?
yeah,
I don't
you've
think I
been
saw it. I was
both.
wondering where you hiding that thing. Yeah, so
I'm not hiding it. It's not very old. Ashley Stennett and I have it, and it's been interesting because we've seen some really cool videos. Can you play that video I sent you or not?
oh yeah. Just give me a second. Yeah, I can
Okay.
actually.
I mean, you don't.
But
Not
while he sets that up, I just wanted to toss out, you said something a while back about how the Sasquatch people are not from just one planet. And I wanted to say that that's true, that we have Sasquatch people who live on Earth, and then we have Sasquatch people who come to Earth on
Yep.
craft.
Yep.
And Barbara Lamb, which is one of the most well-known and respected researchers, she says that in South America, they report that 50% of everybody who gets taken on a craft says it was a Sasquatch craft and a Sasquatch crew. And they're doing the same kind of things, which
Yep,
is
they are.
upgrading people and
Yep,
telling them
they
about the
are.
earth and
Yep,
stuff.
they
So,
are.
and they're not necessarily interfering with the Sasquatch people.
No,
on Earth.
that's like Kashima does not live on this earth. And I don't think I've ever said that before. He is here in a nanosecond, if need be. But he travels throughout the universe and works with other groups of Sasquatch people too, from other places. The thing with him is the people of his people, uh, which are ancients and actually do not take mates. Uh, they are from Shamuna, the place of two moons. And so that tells me that I've never asked him where it was. Uh,
Huh. I wonder if RE comes from there
I've
too.
been there. I've been there, but I don't remember how to get there.
Do you think
So
RE's
in
people
this
come from
body,
there? Do you think RE's people come from there too?
no, I don't think so.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm feeling that there's Sasquatch that interact with humans that are not earthly. They're spiritual beings that are
Yes,
not
yeah,
necessarily attached to any particular planet, but they're, just because they're really high. Being once you get up, higher and higher, you're not really, you don't identify with your name and you don't identify with
uh-uh,
a location or
no,
any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
no. And that,
Yeah.
that's with this moon water person who's come. She gave me a name that I can use for her if I were to want to ask her a question.
Yeah.
I could call her name, which is just an energetic marker, basically,
Yeah.
a
I've always said
connection
that.
there.
I've always said that too.
Yeah,
I don't, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, Bud's not
So,
little Bud's name, but he can hear it when I call him, right?
yeah.
So
Well,
so what are we looking at here?
okay. If you watch this is a ship, and you're going to see it move. This camera is dead still. It's not moving at all.
So it's up here at the top,
Yep,
almost in the middle.
yep. And you're going to see it. It'll go off to the side, and
I just saw something like almost look peeled off it or something like. Oh, maybe that
yep.
was just.
Now, when you get at about 42 seconds, you're going to see a flash, like an energetic flash down below it. Now, you
Coming up
see
right
he's
now, pretty
moving.
much.
He's moving back and forth. And it's like it's pulsing. And there's going to be a flash below it. You can barely see something come in, and then you see this flash. I
I'm
think
replaying it again.
I think it's about at 42.
Oh, we're at 15 seconds now.
Yeah, and you can see it's traveling off to the side now. Now this is a long way away from me. Uh, it's not like it's just right up there above me. It's a ways up there, and I don't have the best camera either. There went a flash.
Yeah. Okay.
But and yeah, so this was just a ship that was up above. I'd been sleeping in my hammock tent, and I didn't have the fly over it, so I could just lay there and look up at the stars. And then I had my other little tent that I didn't have a fly on that I could sleep in. And I was sitting outside it uh, in my zero gravity chair, just looking up at the stars, which I do a lot. And I saw this one moving. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to try to get a video. It's like I tell everything that when I'm going to take a video, that I'm going to try to get a video. And so I did. And, the movements there were very much discernible. There wasn't any great big movements around or anything like that. They did move and then come back and move. And it's interesting, the more you watch it, the more your eyes tune to the movement that's happening. So, but that happens, a lot. I don't know how many people have sent photos or videos too of that very thing happening. One of the things that I've noticed through the years is that you will see what I call a triangle star setup. And you will see a triangle with 3 stars at each point. And if you lay there and watch it, you'll see other activity happening around that triangle. And, there's a lot of thought. I've heard people say, oh, that's a portal. They're going in and out, or they're doing whatever. They are in connection with each other through those 3 points. Now, can that work as a way to use that energy of a portal to do something? I think it probably can. But I've even seen other ships come up to it and place themselves along the line between a star and a star, which I'm not real sure those are stars to begin with, because ships do set up, and I've seen them do that in different ways. I've seen squares, and the other thing I think that's advanced from the dark is the seeing things now in the daytime happening. Them using clouds and things to be within, and then come through, and I think I posted a couple of pictures of that happening, where I saw the beginning. I felt them. I always feel them at first. And then, I just kind of look up where I have that feeling, and you can see them after you've done it for a while. You'll know what to look for. And then you'll see them progress from maybe just a break in the clouds to a ship. And a lot of people are seeing this. A lot of people are seeing these triangles coming in the clouds, and you get this circle with these triangles. And now people I've noticed are seeing squares and rectangles actually forming in the clouds. So that tells me that there's energetic things going on, in those clouds, other than they are just the clouds that are there.
So why don't we, the show was called The Connection Between the Sasquatch People and the Star Nations People. And, we all have our thoughts on that. So why don't we, discuss that as a group and kind of like, because as I see it, they've all got the same message and whatever. So what do we talk about the connection between them? The connection, and I mean, we all know we're all connected to everything. Once you're in that vibration, then that, so when we say we're all connected, or what is the connection? Well, it's a big connection, but like from our perspective is like what understanding of with our language and our words, in other words, not just a big connection. So what is the connection that we can understand between the Sasquatch people and the Star Nations people? Because one thing I've known for sure is that the message is the same.
It is. It's very much the same. And I thought it was interesting years ago when you had people, they would say, every time I see a ship, I see a Sasquatch. What's going on there? Do those ships only come around when the Sasquatch are there? And the truth to that is no, they come around at other times. But yes, the Sasquatch are connected to them, and they have worked with the star people because the Sasquatch came from somewhere else, the ones that live here on the earth.
Right.
Because they chose to do that. Many of them watched as the earth was being birthed and through her evolution. These moon water people were interacting with the Sasquatch like we do when we have a group of people that come together and discuss things. How can I help? What's my part in this to help? And what is it that I'm going to do? I know years ago, Kashima took me to, showed me a council of people, star people, earth people, what people call cryptids. All of these were working together. And so the connection is, and that more and more people are finding out now, the Star Nation people have been here helping us. They're not just abducting us to take us off, and they're not going to come here to annihilate us. The same as I've heard stories, people talk about that the Sasquatch are going to come in and take out all the humans because the humans don't deserve to be here. It is that connection of understanding that they have always worked together, and we are a part of that now. Now, many of us have been a part of it forever. One of my recollections of a prior life was my Star Nation people taking me to Kashima on Shamuna to learn from him. And they showed me the earth, and she was being formed at that time. And that at some point I would be there on that earth. And I was going to need what it was I was going to go and learn on Kashima's planet. Now, on Kashima's planet, there were these other star people. The moon water people were there. It would be like going to a metaphysical conference, for lack of a better words, and you've got all these people. Let's say you've got Greg Braden there, and you've got Deepak Chopra, and then you've got many others that bring all of this stuff to us to help us. It's very much like that they have this meeting where they do talk about us and the earth and what's going on. But at the same time, they're talking about other places as well. They're not just here on this earth doing this. And these star people are not just here on this earth doing this. They're doing it all over.
Well,
It's
one
what
one
they
hint, one hint or a sign of that is we've been having interactions since the 1930s that are kind of people can track, and we have this thing called a disclosure. We're not in charge of the disclosure.
Mm-mm.
Our people are in charge of disclosure, and they figured it out from other planets that they brought through this whole process.
Yep.
They go real slow, so they go. It's like been 70 years now, something like that. That they just go little bit by little bit, keep feeding the information, get the familiarity going, and the Sasquatch are doing the same thing.
That's
They're
right.
they're not just walking into a Walmart and saying, "Hey, this is, where's the bananas?" You know what I mean? They're
Yep.
doing the same kind of thing. Get slow accumulation of
Yep.
familiarity and
Yep.
and stories. Everybody's got their stories now, so they're all on the same kind of a team. There's like a team that are doing this.
Yes, they are. They very much are. And so many of them are coming forward now. I know Trinity Starchild was talking about she was going to hear Bashar, who channels, and we were talking in the group that Bashar had talked about, their triangle ships and different things, and so we have so much information out there now available to us if we'll just open our hearts, and it'll come to us. You don't have to go trying to find it. You just set that pure intent of the heart, and that something will come to you that will lead you to understanding something that you've been thinking about. I mean, how many times have you had a thought about something you'd like to know more about, and then you see an ad for something?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something that's going to lead you to a web page that is about, and it's about everything. And so those thoughts of your pure intent of wanting to know more, that's going to happen. You bring that to you.
Yeah, and you what you said, I like what you said about not trying, because like I haven't, like I've had a lot of teachings from the Sasquatch or whatever, but it's not all the stuff I talk about most of it is not book read or whatever. I haven't read a lot of
Right.
books on it and all this stuff. It's just a knowing. It's like a download of a knowing and whatever. And so when you said a lot of this stuff, I can't remember exactly how you said it. They don't teach you. You just, how did you say that again? But
Yeah,
you just,
you know it. You can't explain it
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And,
in our terms, but it is there. You just have that knowing, and that's part of all of that Kashima talked about, the knowing.
yeah, because I
That
have this
knowing.
when we're talking. Yeah, sorry. When we're talking about all these subjects, I have this inner knowing, but I don't have the books that I can back it up with. It's
Right,
just knowledge.
right.
It's just knowledge
Right.
inside or whatever. So, yeah.
But yeah, it's
That's true.
so
Everybody's got their own way. There's some people who are like this lady I was watching today. She's written 100 books, and she's read everything there is to
Oh,
know
yeah.
about religion
Oh.
and Mr. and all that kind of stuff. But then she said one of the things she said is, you don't have to read books. You don't have to go to a teacher. That may not be your path. The path is available to everybody, and the way is given to you.
Yeah.
Your way.
I think that what she's saying and what is true is that it'll come to you somehow. If it's, it'll come to you and you don't have to go looking for it. It's going to get there. Like I didn't go looking for it. They told me in my case, go to the mountains and then look at me now, like I'm one of
know.
those certified
Yeah.
Looney Tune, you know.
Well, this lady had a near-death experience. I just want to relate this story. When she was in her near-death experience, she had a bad heart, and the Christ figure, the master figure, came to her and said, "Well, so you want to go back?" He said, "I recommend you put yourself on a list to get a heart transplant because your heart's not doing too good." And she's thought about it for a second. She said, "No, I want to go back, but I don't want to take somebody's life." And I say, I want somebody, whoever might have to donate my life, I want them to keep their heart with the possibility that they will go on. And I'll just take my luck with my heart, and that, it'll work out. And this figure said, "Okay, I can do that." So when she sacrificed her own heart because she didn't want to take the life of another person, that just put her in a different category. And then this being took her to this what is like a little cafe in the future, and showed her this this where there's all these books were on a shelf, and it was all her books. He said, "I'm going to make good use of you." So it's that kind of a thing. We come here to help each other, and that's the theme. The Sasquatch
Yeah.
are helping the humans, and the star nations are helping the humans, and humans are helping the animals. We have so many people who volunteer for the dogs or the cats, and
Yep.
save the whales, and everybody's really wants to help each other, and I think that's what's really going on. That's what the connection between
Yep.
all things are.
It
Mhm.
is. Yep.
Yeah. So what, people say because it's time, but why now? Why are they reaching out to us now? I mean, I've got my own thoughts on it. So when I ask you, don't think I'm just like, I don't,
Yep.
you know what I mean? But I have to phase it like I don't know anything, but whatever, go, which I probably don't.
Well, more
why now?
people
But why
now,
now?
more people now have their heart open. That you hear that all the time. This brain heart coherent, where science has come up and said, well, now we found out that the heart has its own brain cells. It has its own cells for thinking and doing, and so it is an evolutionary, energetic pathway that we're walking down. And the quality of the people that I see who are involved in this now, it's amazing. I just look around and I see these people who are open hearted and connecting and doing these things, and it what better time
Yeah.
than now.
Like Frank Beans.
Well, to me, if you ask me, it's like you have to look at the Hermetic principles, right? The principle of mentalism and correspondence and all that kind of stuff. But there's this one, which is like the fifth one, which is the principle of rhythm, and that we have been in the dark age. And rhythm means the pendulum swings back and forth. We've been in the dark ages for 12,000 years, and it's been dark and oppressive, and we've been acting like slaves and continuous wars. And the pendulum is swinging, and now it's swinging to the other side, which is going to be less wars and less strife and no slavery and more awakening. So it's just like a pendulum thing. There's something natural about it. We needed to know how to pick up. We need to know how the dirt felt so we can know how to wash our hands. You know what I mean? We've been in the dirt for a long time, and now we're learning how to wash our hands and heal and evolve. So it's just a time.
Yeah.
Also, this whole cycle, the cycle of our star goes up and down across the center line of the galaxy, galactic plane. And when we go below, we're in the dark age, Kali Yuga, and we start to come out, we go into the light age. So, and we're getting this higher vibration and higher help coming at this time.
Yeah. Well, I
And
guess we
they've
could
been
talk.
here.
Go-
They've been here all along. It's just that people haven't opened up to acknowledging them. If it wasn't time or whatever, but so
You,
many are now. So,
you notice Beans Moss getting better at jumping in like us? She learned just how to interject just before I say something. Or
That's because she's got important things to say. You only have to interject when you got important things to say.
well, that
oh my
never stopped
gosh.
me. Never stopped me.
But you have a strong sense of self importance.
Oh, okay. So to me, their message and the Star Nation and the Sasquatch people, to me, it all revolves around the core lessons that I've talked about a lot. Like love is the core, is the foundation, no fear, no judgment, no division, all that kind of thing. And all. So I think that's the message of the, for us at this time, pivotal time in history, that the Sasquatch people and the Star Nation people are delivering. And what do you think, Arla? Do you want to talk any more on that? Because I think all the problems, it's such a strong message to me that to say all is a big word, but I'll just say all the problems of the world are caused from the lies of division, getting out of your heart, judgment, and all those things that and fear, whatever. So those are the core truths of the Sasquatch people, and I think the Star Nations people. And what do you want to expand on that, Arla? But I
Well,
think that
how does love make you feel?
yeah, exactly. You automatically
You're
go from,
connected. You're
yeah, you're
connected
connected.
to that. When you open up to love, and it doesn't matter if you're loving a flower coming up through a crack in cement, or if you're loving the most grand thing you've ever seen in your life, that love takes you to that place that connects you to
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And that's the basis, for it all, is
Yeah.
understanding that love.
Yeah, it's easy to catch ourselves from falling into negativity and stuff. And
It
it
is.
just by simply knowing and reminding yourself, like, when you go into we automatically go to a negative thought about people or whatever, because that's what we're brought up. Oh, I hate the way that guy looks or something, but simply just catching ourselves and saying something nice or thinking something nice. Because when you say I hate the way that guy looks, your energy noticeably goes from like neutral or high to judgment and low. When you say the opposite, it does the opposite or maintains that nice level, I suppose. So it really is it's really something we can practice every day, and it's not that hard, and it really is about judgment, fear, division, lack of love, um, that's the
Disconnection.
message.
Disconnection.
Um,
Disconnection creates all
oh
kinds
yeah.
of things.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm working
exactly.
on, I'm working on trying to see everything as spirit. And if you look as a spirit being, meaning a being, a person, a being that you can interact with. If you look at love, say love and gratitude versus maybe suffering and fear, if there were four different people, right? Then you would want to cultivate your friends. So you want to cultivate being friends with love and cultivate the feeling of gratitude. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you'd want to avoid or starve out or reject, fear and suffering, unless you could give love to the fear and suffering, and that's what the
Yeah.
fear and suffering
Yeah.
needed. But
Yeah.
yeah, when you start thinking that you're being visited by the spirit of love, it's such a romantic way of saying it, and that's something that you can call on. We give our powers away to circumstances like, oh, I have to see this flower, or I have to go to the Grand Canyon to see something grand. That's not necessarily true. You can call on if love is the spirit, you can call on the love of spirit right now. And if gratitude is a spirit, is a being, you can call on gratitude. You can want to be associated with, you want to be infiltrated and influenced by gratitude and love. It's all consciousness.
I think another one of the big
And me, I want to be
things that-
handsome.
well, you can't help that. One of the other things that they've instilled is damn it, I forgot my thought now. I was thinking about how handsome you were and I got distracted.
Well, it's like this. It's like rich is a feeling, right? And poverty is a feeling. But there is no rich and poor. It's a feeling. It's a being. And you can have a person with stacks of money and they can still feel poor. And you can have a person who has no money and they can feel rich. They own the stars, they own the earth, they own the water, they own the air. It's completely different when you look at the spirit of richness, the spirit of abundance, and walk with them. Let them walk inside you. There's nothing right now. We have our value in a piece of paper because that piece of paper is the spirit of commodity. It's the spirit of something you can purchase, but that's all it is. You know what I mean? You can't use a dollar bill to buy a sunset. Doesn't work that way.
Nope.
But you can own the sunset, you can own the sky, you can own the rivers, you can own the earth, you can own the temperature, you can own the seasons, because they're beings that you can invite into your life. And you're connected. You can connect to a being more than an idea.
Yep.
It's hard to connect to an idea. We have to make a belief. We have to make a being out of an idea and then connect to it. That's what religion is.
Yeah. Religion, that's another subject, but oh well. Which is,
I want to make a little note about religion. All of our modern religions were made in the depths of the Kali Yuga, and none of them are going to stand the light of day in the age of Aquarius.
No, many have already fallen.
no, because there's so much judgment and fear involved in them,
And death,
thou shalt not, otherwise,
child molestation and women abuse and murder. It's all that stuff's mixed in there, and that's all going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I've always believed, I've always felt something for Christ and whatever. And I think, and I've always said, with all due respect, that if I could talk to him today, he'd probably say, I didn't say half of that shit you're talking about. I didn't say that, y'all. As he wrapped it up, but you know what I mean? But because I don't think he wants people to be in fear of hell and damnation and all that stuff. That doesn't sound very Christ-like. And
across a million, for billions of people to look at him hanging on a cross. What a way to go. How, then we have to do this mental gymnastics. How could God kill his own son and all that kind of crap?
Yep.
No, that's not what it's about.
Yeah. And now everybody hates us. We always alienate somebody, but this is I like the fact that we can speak our minds on this show, and so far we haven't been taken off the air.
Christ said, "I and my Father are one. I and my brothers are one." And if we could use that to apply to the Star Nations and to the Sasquatch people, say that we are one with them. They are our brothers. Then we'd be walking with Christ, and then we'd be walking with honor.
There's enough things that Christ said that people could honor him with, and put and I don't want to say worship, but that could honor him with his glory or whatever, of the things that he did actually say, without trying to put lies and fear and invent things that he didn't say.
Plus he quoted a Sasquatch quote, a Hanuman quote. He said if if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could ask the mountain to come and it would come. That's right out of the Ramayana. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's a connection right there to the Christ and the Sasquatch people.
Yeah. So anything else you wanted to cover there, Ma? You know, that thought came back to me again and I lost it. There was some.
I still have a lot of stuff, but it's not time right now. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
I did. I pretty much did what I feel like I was asked to do. I mean, this is just a beginning. My debut.
Yeah. Well, one of
Again.
one of the biggest, I've talked about this many times. One of the biggest lies is, you know, like that when you feel like you're divided or whatever, you feel powerless, and you also feel powerless and small. Well, we have to get over that. We have to feel empowered and big and capable of changing our reality, you know, and because we can. We created. We do create our own future.
Takes just
So
as
you know
much
when
effort to be big as it does to be small.
So when people talk about, you know, like with bearing that in mind, and then I hear from people and they doom and gloom, and it's always like the lowest denominator, what's going to happen or whatever. And I say, well, I'm not going to go with that because I'm not going to allow myself to create that future. I'm going to be positive and create something that I want to see. So why should I put my energy into that? Right. So that's good advice to anybody. And it's.
Yep, I've always said I am not a Chicken Little. I don't run around saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. If the sky falls, I'll deal with it when it happens. I know I have the ability to do it, so I am just not gonna buy into it.
Yeah,
I think we're on to something here with this all one, all connected, and all the beings that are here. The fear mongering and the cabal and the deep state and evil billionaires and all of this stuff is going to fall like nothing. You know what I mean? It's going to fall like nothing. We lived on this planet for 2 million years with no money. You know what I mean? They think they can do whatever they want. They want to take directed energy weapons and shoot it at try to kill people with it. That's just, none of that stuff is of any importance at all. The connection that people have with their hearts and their family, and people who are connected to Mother Earth now, the people who are connected to the star, those people are just going to be old men who die in old age. That's it. It's good. They're already kind of fading out. They're, hopefully we won't going to have any more 9/11s or Mauis or, I don't know what that's all about, but it's got to happen. In my view, God's coming in and cleaning out all the crap, and we're going to see it as it piles up, because none of it's going to go with us to the new earth.
Well, hallelujah, brother.
Hallelujah. Yippee. Yippee-i-o, kaye.
You know, I'm sure I've got progressive brain damage or something, because I thought of that thing I wanted to remember 3 times. And I was trying not to interrupt, and then now I can't remember it again. But it was. I know. I know what I got it. I got to say it right now. So one of the other things is that that we're being taught is that the thing with religion is that it puts the onus or the focus on something outside of yourself. We have everything we need inside of us. We're complete inside of us. We have everything we need in the universe inside of us. So when we put the responsibility on some invisible deity, we're kind of like, well, I can slack off and do this, and then I'll just be forgiven, and kind of thing. We're not taking the responsibility with ourselves, because we have all that knowledge, all that everything within us. So when we just, you know what I mean, we're kind of sloughing it off. we have it within us to do. We don't have to just say, well, God will forgive me, as long as we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We have to do it. We have to do the work. We it's our responsibility for ourselves individually and collectively, right? So that's the thing I don't like about religion. It's sloughing off the responsibility that we have in some way, to some degree. Does that make sense? Oh, there, I finally got it out and said it really poorly, but but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure what you said, but I agree with you 100%.
Well, you defend my right to say something that made no sense, right?
No, it should have made sense, but it just didn't fit in my head. Like maybe I'm having say it 3 more times, and then maybe I'll get it.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
I know
anyway,
it felt good, so I'm sure it's all right.
I think the connection between the Sasquatch part of it and the Sasquatch people and Star Nations people is basically they're trying to say, hey, little brother, time to wake up. Time to put your big boy pants on and join the collective or whatever, because what the shit they've been feeding you down there is not true. It's not right. So that's what it's all about.
You feed yourself that. That's out there, and you pick it up and you ingest it. And one of the things that we're learning now is we don't have to do that.
Right.
We don't have to ingest all of that stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah. So with knowing, and I could give my own, but we'll hand it over to you, Arla. With knowing all this stuff, what would you say? The judgment, the division, the love, not following the lies or whatever. How would you suggest to a person on an everyday basis if they said, Arla, how can I start living this life, this ideal, these teachings of no judgment and love and no division and all that stuff? How can I incorporate it and make the changes in my life to actually make a difference? What would you say to somebody?
well, you have to be honest with yourself, number one, with what comes to you. You've got to get to that space where you are connected to your heart. And I'm not talking about that physical heart that loves a person or a relationship or a thing or whatever. I'm talking about something past that. Opening up your heart and hearing what your heart has to say to you. And your heart talks to you all the time. And
Yeah.
that information is there. Number one, embrace gratitude. Embrace gratitude. Look around you. And, I do things like, I'll even look at my bottle of castor oil. I'm seeing that right now. And I am so grateful for that bottle of castor oil. Now, that sounds a little strange, but there is so much that castor oil has for me. I even look at all of the things that have happened in my life and that happen now, things that most people would say, oh my gosh, that's negative, that's so bad. I want to see the good that relies within that, because I can guarantee you there is something within that is going to be such a wonderful, positive thing for you. Now, it might not feel like it when you're going through it, but that you will see that if you open to it. And I try to always have a grateful heart. And I
Yeah.
I have a song I sing every morning. And there you go, Beans. When I I sleep in a tent. Of course, Matthew and the dog sleep in the house. I say it all the time. I was not born to sleep in a house. And so for the majority of the time, I sleep in a tent. Well, when I come in the house, we all greet each other, and I start singing, you know, the neighborhood song. Won't you be my neighbor? And for me, a neighbor is, and I go into the whole neighborhood song, but that's every morning. I
Yeah.
have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful
Beautiful
day.
day.
And I
Since
sing,
when oh,
yep,
I thought you were gonna sing the whole
every
thing. Okay.
morning I sing, and sometimes I change the words around, but that's
Yeah.
my everyday morning song. If I didn't sleep well, or I'm hurting or whatever, once I break into that song, it's like, woo, we just cleared it out.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I can stay in that other feeling when I'm singing that. And I might sing
Yeah.
it to a sink full of dirty dishes if I didn't do my dishes the night before. The first thing I sing to is Matthew and the dogs because they are here with me. And that's my
Yeah.
morning greeting. But, that's another of those gratitude things, being thankful, for whatever, just that
You
breath,
can't you
just
can't
that.
you can't be in that negative state when you're in a state of thanks and gratitude.
No, you can't. And so, that's a major thing for people is finding how do I shift out of this gloom and doom?
Yeah.
How do I shift out of this? Oh my gosh, did you see what was going on in the political world? How do I shift out of that? You just do it. You
Yeah.
ask for it, and then you begin to live it. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard, but if you continue to look for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thankful things in the things that may not look like there's anything to be thankful, there'll be
With
something there.
with those things, being aware of them, but not falling into the negative energy of them, putting yourself into that
Yep.
is key. The other thing is, like very, very simple, we all got that little guy on our shoulder telling I got that little conscious guy, like he's always with us. And we all know that, like stuff like gossiping or whatever, we all know it's bad. And as soon as I start doing it, and if I do it or whatever, and I try not to, because it's kind of judgment or whatever, but you always have that bad, guilty kind of feeling, like I shouldn't be doing this. You get that feeling like I shouldn't really be saying, you feel bad about saying it. And then sometimes you even say how bad you feel about saying it. Well, guess what? Catch yourself right away and don't do that shit. That's we all know the positive, the high energy and the low energy things or whatever. And it's just practicing and reminding yourself, I don't want to think like that. I'm going to take these thoughts in another direction.
And don't beat yourself up for thinking it. Just
Yeah.
look at what you've done and put love on it and love yourself and get past it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you say, guys? We've been going on for over 3 hours. Should we? I had a
We're
lot.
good. We're good. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm saturated.
Well, anyway, I think we had a good kick at the it's all about connection, man. We got to remember we're connected. That's
It is.
basically it. You know,
I think we
don't,
should do, I think we should do like an all-day marathons. You start it early in the morning and like each person can talk and the other people can take a nap, and get up and talk. That would be
Like-
great.
like
Uh.
I'll be going like from 8 till 12 your time, and then you'd be sleeping from 12 to like 4 or 5, and then you get up in the morning, and then Arla would take midday or something.
I'm an early riser, and I'm usually in bed by 10:30. But lately, I've been staying awake, laying there in the tent
Yeah.
listening. So,
Yeah. I think that when people say what's the connection between the Star Nations and the Sasquatch, well, the connection is awareness of being one.
Yep.
And talking about it, you know, they're you know, that's where the connection is. Okay, guys. Take care. Thank you everybody for watching. And I don't think we addressed any questions that wanted addressed.
It was our pleasure to serve you a heaping help of pork and beans.
And remember, if you haven't got your heaping helping of pork and beans, please like and subscribe to our channel and join me on
we got a group on Facebook.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, the Pork and Bean Show. And
Oh, really?
like and subscribe to that. Yeah, this is what we're doing right here, I think. And also my Sasquatch BC, the true story. I got a new little one. I'm doing these little Sasquatch shorty things now on there. And I got the remember the Three Stooges song? Remember that? I got that. That's the intro for it. But I'm trying to keep them all like under. Well, yeah. I still like those guys. Is that a problem? Why don't women like them? Women hate the Three Stooges. Most women hate the Three Stooges.
I never said I hated them. I think they're for their time of what they brought. Yeah, they're kind of funny. But then I like Bud Abbott and Lou Costello and George and Gracie and
I like the
all
Marx
those
Brothers a
people.
lot too. I like the Marx Brothers a whole lot.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were funny. Yeah. Who's your favorite beans of those old?
I like Lucille Ball. She was pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever see the one in the Mirror one with Lucy and Harpo?
That is,
And
I was thinking of that.
that's
when
a
you
classic.
said
That's a
yeah,
classic.
it is. Yep.
Man, that's a classic. And then there was a Groucho movie where he did something in the mirror too that was just those old guys are just great. Anyway, don't get me started talking on comedy music or sports.
I gotta take a nap because I'm old and handsome.
Yeah.
You got to
By the way,
have your more beauty sleep.
But by the way, next show, just so everybody knows, we're going to reveal Mr. Frank Oliver Bean's top 10 beauty secrets. Top 10 beauty secrets. So stay tuned to that. And
please don't miss it.
Yeah. And we're gonna do the countdown from 10 to 1.
60 years of drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. Let's put that on the top.
So you better come up with some bullshit before the next show there, Beans, about your top 10 beauty secrets. Like, you know, mud, whatever, you know, mud thing.
I'll give you a trailer. If you take a sour, then you get all sweet. Then you have sweet and sour.
Yeah.
Or salty and sweet. Didn't you say you were drinking salt water?
Sour. I took a shower.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Your beauty is in the contrast?
No, I'm saying my beauty doesn't wash off in the shower.
Well, no. I mean, it's not superficial, right? It's not superficial. Not superficial.
Oh
anyway,
my gosh.
So on behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans, and our constant co-host, Ma Cobbler, Peach Cobbler, this has been the Pork and Bean Show. I don't really want to change the name of the pork. You're on so much, but I don't really want to change the name.
No. No,
That's why we don't
I-
have you on every time. Otherwise, I got to
I
change the
know.
name, right?
I'm an addendum, so I'm good with.
The dessert. Peach cobbler's dessert. Pork and
You
beans
kind
and
of,
peach cobbler.
yeah. I
Everybody,
mean,
pork and beans today and peach cobbler for dessert.
we're the main course, the pork and bean. Anyone wants something sweet and
Oh,
and whatever, then you get a little peach
oh my
cobbler thrown
gosh.
in there too, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, 3 more days and you're here, Ma. I can't wait. We're gonna have
I
fun.
know. And actually, in 2014, when I came up there this morning in my memories on Facebook, it said, I've got 2 more nights to sleep in my tent. That's what I'm doing now. I was thinking this morning when I was laying in the tent and I did my video. What if I got one more? No, I got 2 more nights to sleep in my tent and then I go to BC. It was this very exact same thing in my memories for 2014 when I came up there.
Any word from the gang up here to you lately, or at least
They're
I think
I know
I
Indigo,
know.
he's already uh gone.
Yeah,
He's not here. He's already gone. So whatever he's doing up there,
and you
we'll
expect
see.
Rue to be up there too?
Yeah, oh yeah, Rue will be there. Rue told me he would
Is
be there.
what is he going to be there for Sue? I imagine, right?
Uh I would imagine so.
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that was his whole thing. So,
I just want to actually ask you something quickly before we. So, like you always have a Sasquatch traveling with you, and like Tom usually does. I've had RE with me before. Rue probably travels with Sue or whatever, but I got like the whole kind of clan. I don't know if I have someone specific, unless it's like Bud now, but sometimes I think it's fortunate because
it could be. It could be any one of them. Indigo just likes to do this. And since he's not fully an ancient, but is a teacher in training, I guess you'd call it, he does go and he goes out and connects with those that are there. And I mean, that's like when I went to Washington in July. Well, we went to Oregon first. And I mean, I wasn't there 30 minutes when he had left me the heart on my vehicle right by my door when I walk by. And I mean, you can see that it's been put on there. You can see the hair, the marks from the hair on his hand. So yeah, he's it's what he does.
And I imagine, and we're going to wrap up, but I imagine that it's probably like at a gathering like this with so many different Sasquatch showing up and so many different people who have got connections with Sasquatch. It must be just like a family reunion for them too, because I mean they can
Oh yeah,
obviously telepathically be in contact, but it's sort of like all the Sasquatch are going to be partying and we're going to be partying, and then we'll all kind of mingle together, kind of thing. So it'd be
yep. All
wonderful.
that energy will be there for everybody.
I'll
Oh,
send
And
you,
geez.
we'll
send you
send you
spiritual
something.
tacos, so nobody will feel like they're
Well,
missing.
our goal next year is to get Beans out there by hook or by
Yep.
crook.
Yep.
You got to get him out there.
But you know
So,
what? I want all our listeners, which is I think there's probably 7 of them now. There's
7.
that this is the historic thing in history of planet Earth, where you have a Sasquatch, a non-human, human, and corporal being that it decides that they want to go camping with humans. So it's be like the same thing as if the ETs wanted to go camping with us. You know what I mean?
Oh, they'll be there too. They'll be there too. So they've been everywhere I've been so far in traveling, but then they're everywhere. But I'm talking about some of them that I'm connected with. So
I never like to put expectations on gatherings or whatever, but people are sure feeling a lot of energy with this one. So I think it's going to be a really good gathering anyway, put it that way. So, and we shall see in a few days there, Ma.
Yep.
And we'll see beans in 1 year and 4 days.
1 year.
1 year and 4 days, you're gonna be coming out. Even if Moss to pick you up on her broom on the way
Yeah.
by.
I'm gonna buy.
Get that double seat.
I'm gonna buy a Honda Ruckus, and I'm gonna drive there. I'm gonna start this year. It'll only take me a year to get there. You ever seen a Honda Ruckus? They're these little short Honda things that look like a little mini bike.
Well, put a little fund me thing on, like people fund you to go across the country. You know what I
Take
mean?
videos as you're going. Put your GoPro on front of it.
Yeah, and film the whole thing, like
It's got like 3 horsepower, so you can't go on any interstates.
yeah. Anyway, we can go on forever, so I'm getting hungry too, so why don't we just go? And this has kind of been a pretty good show, though.
We
Yep.
covered a lot of nice ground, a lot of kept it in the heart space.
Yeah, most of the things I wanted to talk about, though, I forgot. It's the real important
Well,
stuff. So we'll get to that next time.
It's
You got
It just
seed
means
for the
you're
next
sending beyond the mind. It's all right. It's just natural.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Thanks everybody for tuning in too, and we'll see you next week or soon. I guess we won't actually have a show next week because we got the cap out, but we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.